How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
One more time for the people in the back.
How about those Devils?
How about those Devils? Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And your New Jersey Devils headed to Pittsburgh on a cold February winter night, looking desperately, so desperately looking for 2 points that, quite frankly, we needed very badly. As you all know, we're in some hard times right now, coming out of I'm going to say we're still in it, still in a bit of an extended slump that lasted this entire calendar year of 2025. And the playoff race is getting tight. There's no guarantees. The playoff race is getting super tight, needing the 2 points, needing the win. Your New Jersey Devils go to Pittsburgh and blow a 2-goal lead and find a way to win in the 7th round of the shootout. And my heart's still racing, guys. My heart is still racing. But firstly, I must ask, I must know.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Guys, I'm going nuts. The heart is still racing. The heart is still racing. Wow. Wow. Oh, wow. What a beautiful game for your New Jersey Devils. And obviously, as always, win or lose, we booze. Win or lose, we booze. And tonight, oh, baby, Victory Vodka, Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. And Victory Vodka tastes so much better. Let me tell you, it tastes so much better than loser beverages. So much better than loser beverages. And tonight, this goes out to you guys. Win or lose, we booze. Tonight, we won the game. And cheers to all my Devils fans. Wow. Wow. All right. Let me calm down a minute. I'll be the first to say, ugly win. Ugly road win. But guess what, guys? A win is a win. 2 more points in the bank. But obviously, they did not play well. Let's be real. They did not play well. Blew a 2-goal lead. They put everyone was saying in the chat, the kiss of death graphic. Whatever they were, 24-0-2 or whatever, with the lead going in the third. Obviously was the kiss of death. Everyone was joking like, oh yeah, they're toast now. They let them tie it up in the third, but they find a way. Oh man, let's just get to the game real quick. Wow, what a game. Low event, very low event first period. Not too much either way. Kind of a boring game. Devils with 6 shots on goal in the first, Pittsburgh with 9. And then with 17 seconds left, the Devils get a real nice, ugly one. Down low, everyone crashing the net. The puck's loose. Jack gets a piece of it. Bratter happily takes credit for it. Leads the fist bump line going down, but it is, in fact, Jack Hughes' 22nd of the season, assisted by Bratter and Palat. Gives the Devils the 1-0 lead. And after the first period, I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous. I was like, we obviously did not play well, got very lucky. I love late period goals are amazing. It's a gift and a curse. I mean, when it's for your team, it's like, oh yeah, just give them a little shot. To really take the crowd out of it and kind of deflate the Penguins after the first period. But when it happens against you, which we've seen the Devils give up tons of those, it really sucks. But love to see a late period goal for Jack. Gives them the 1-0 lead. And then we get to the second. Jack with a big face-off win. And he immediately, if you watch the play, Jack wins the face-off and he immediately gets the other side of the ice in the position. He assumes the position Bratter gets him the puck, and he tees up the one-timer at 9:14 for his 23rd goal of the season, assisted by Jesper Bratt. And while we do not see a ton of Jack Hughes one-timers in gameplay, I will tell you, it's a routine. So a lot of the guys have certain routines that do every warm-ups. Every single warm-up routine, the last 2 minutes or so of the warm-up, Jack Hughes and Dawson Mercer are on opposite wings, and they feed each other pucks and just blast one-timers. If you haven't seen a video of it, check out my channel. There's a video, or multiple videos of warm-ups of them doing this. They do it after at the end of every warm-up. And I always wonder when I watch it, like sometimes you see Jack killing him, and I'm like, wow, I wonder why he never really tries it in a game. And this was one of those scenarios where you might not see it a lot, but that routine and just repetitious, him and Dawson practicing it regularly, comes into play. He just absolutely bombed that one. Beautiful shot. Obviously, Siegenthaler, another story of the game. Siegenthaler goes down, have to play with 5D for a lot of the game. I'll retouch on that later. But yeah, 5D for a big chunk of the game. Guys logging massive minutes. Devils up 2-0 in the second, and then Raquel. And people were saying this in the chat too. People were calling for Raquel to score. A play that I thought DAWS could have done better on, whether he tried to freeze it and cover it with the glove. I thought it was, he could have pounced on it real quick. But just kind of like a jerky, exchange there, and he gets beat on the wraparound. Raquel scores at 14:56, cuts the lead to 2-1. That is how the second period would end. And we head to the third, and as you all mentioned, they throw up the kiss of death graphic. I believe, again, it was maybe 24-0-2, something like that. Devils with the lead going into the third, and everyone's like, oh my God, kiss of death, kiss of death. And then, of course, in true fashion, at 7:53, Hayes gets one. He's open in the slot. Someone hits him with the pass. He blasts it past NICO. DAWS. Game tied at 2. And it was trying times. I'm not going to lie. After they tied it up, I was a little nervous. It was one of those things where you're like, oh my God. And I think at that point, up until that point in the third, the Devils had like 2 shots. Like, they did not look good at all. Wow. But they survive regulation. Devils get to the overtime, and once again, the clear importance of Captain Nicohischier. The face-off in overtime, as you know, is massive. The way these teams play in overtime, you could be playing without the puck for the majority of the overtime, and that's exactly what happened today in this one. Devils lose the opening draw, which is massive. Again, Nico takes all those, and he's done very well. I'd be curious to know, actually, what his exact percentage is in the opening face-off of overtimes. It seems like it's got to be pretty good. Like his regular face-offs are good as well, but he just seems to always come up with the timely draws. And not having him, aside from all the other things, the important face-offs is huge. Devils lose it. Pittsburgh controls what seems like for a couple minutes almost. And they constantly were regrouping. If they didn't have a shot, they would just peel back, reset, start the whole thing over. And Bryce Salvador on the broadcast, talked about it. And he was like, yeah, teams know, you don't want to get into a track meet with the New Jersey Devils, meaning, pond hockey back and forth. That's a recipe for the Devils to win. And so if you're smart, instead of taking a shot wide, letting it rim around or bank off the glass or the end boards and the Devils charging up the other way, they just say, oh, nothing's there. Peel out and do a little redo on the whole thing. And that's what teams do. And Pittsburgh did it probably one of the most times of the season that we've seen in an overtime. They retreated quite a bunch. And the Devils were without the puck for a ton in overtime. And then obviously the overtime comes to the ultimate crescendo when Jack gets sprung on a breakaway with time expiring. I think he actually got the shot off with it's probably 1 second left about, but Jack's on a breakaway in all alone. It would have been the overtime. It would have been a hat trick overtime winner. I mean, I wanted this. You couldn't have set the table more for a dramatic victory. If Jack had scored there and got the Hattie in overtime with 1 second left, it probably would have been one of the greatest regular season Devils goals of the past decade. I mean, a hat trick in OT in a massive game. But Jack can't bury it. Heartbreaking save. We go to the shootout, and sometimes the legends are made in the shootout. We start the shootout. Raquel for Pittsburgh comes in almost stopped. I hate when guys almost come to a complete, almost a dead stop. I think it's cheesy. I know it's technically within the rules. I do think they need to change the rules somewhat to where you can't go that slow. I mean, it's like, my God. I mean, he played it perfect too. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of his shootouts, but I'm assuming this is kind of his go-to thing where he comes in super slow, freezes the goalie, gets in as tight as he can, where he's still safe from the goalie potentially poking him, and just rips it. I don't like those types of shootout attempts, but he does it. Penguins take the 1-0 lead in the shootout. Devils' first shooter, Paul Cotter. And Paulie, what can we say about Paulie? He comes in, does his little move, gets in a little tighter than I thought he was gonna, and just throws it upstairs on the backhand in super tight.
Paulie. Yo, Paulie. Hey, yo, Paulie.
Paulie coming up big again. And as NICO referred to it on the broadcast, he said that is just filthy, just absolute filth. We are tied 1-1 through the first round of the shootout. We go to round 2, and who's up for the Penguins? First ballot Hall of Famer, all-time great, number 87, Sidney Crosby. Crosby comes on in. Nico DAWS gets him with the blocker, I believe. And I'm sure that's one, that he'll tell his grandkids. More than likely, he will never take a shootout attempt from Sidney Crosby ever again, and he took one against an all-time great. He comes up with a big stop. Devils now have the chance to take the lead. We go to the next shooter, Jackhughes, and I am not going to lie, guys. I listen. I love Jack. I root for him. He's a big part of our team, but I do think it's just completely ridiculous, given the history we have of him on shootouts, that he's still in the top 3 shootout guys. It just seems like they're going to keep forcing it, and I understood it for a while. It's like, he's your franchise player. They want to put him on the penalty kill and he's on the power play. Cool. But in the end, we have the overwhelming statistics. Just because he's your best player, I don't think that warrants an automatic bid into the shootout, given that his statistics are not good. It is what it is. I can't explain it. Maybe he just feels the pressure. He tries to do too much. I don't know. Whatever happens, Jack comes in, and it would have been bad enough if he just got stopped. But the fact that he bobbles it and doesn't get off the shot, dude, I was furious. I'm not going to lie. I was really angry that, he went and that was what happened. I mean, bobbles it. We don't get a shot off. Shootout tied 1-1 after 2. We go to the third round. Rust goes for Pittsburgh, and Nico DAWS comes up with yet another save. Another big stop for the youngster in net. What a game for Nico DAWS. We'll talk about him a lot more in a little bit. And then the Devils looking to take the lead in the shootout. Jesper Bratt comes in, and it just gets the inside, gets a nice little wristy off, and it gets the inside toe or the inside skate, I believe, of the Penguins goalie, and so close for Bratt to give the Devils the lead. And we now go to the 4th round of the shootout. Up for Pittsburgh, Bolivier. He comes in, does a nasty move, and he beats DAWS. And at that point, I felt my life leave my body a little bit. When they took the lead, and it's now all on Dougie Hamilton, another resident whipping boy here where people hate on relentlessly, I believe, way more than warranted. But, Doomer's going to doom. But it's all on the backs of number 7, Dougie Hamilton. And what does Dougie do? He comes in, puts on a little move, and gets the puck between the wickets to extend the shootout to another round. We go to round 5 of the shootout. Hayes is up for Pittsburgh. Another DAWS save. And Tomas Tatar up on deck with the chance to win. Now, again, maybe he has good stats. Maybe he doesn't. I'm not really sure about the selection there. But if they are going with the, thought process of use Tatar because he has good stats, if you're looking at the stats, then I implore the team to also look at the stats of Jackhughes and say, the results aren't there. We're going in another direction in the shootout. No hard feelings. They can't do that. But either way, for whatever reason, Tatar gets selected. He comes in, stopped. We go to round 6 of the shootout. And now at this point, folks, I promise you I'm on near life support. I'm sweating. I'm yelling. And I'm just standing up, yelling. And Tatar comes in. Can't do it. Another save. Next up for the Penguins, Letang. Letang gets stopped. We now go to this is still round 6. This is round 6 of the Devils. The Devils' 6th round shooter, Luke Hughes. Interesting pick. Not angry at it. He has, I don't know, we've seen a lot of him. He has a kind of deceptive shot, long stick, good skater. I could see him being decent in shootouts, maybe in practice or something. They go with Luke Hughes, and he also gets stopped. Chance to win the game on a stick. Luke can't do it. We go to round 7. This is exhausting. And now at this point, I'm yelling obscenities. I'm saying someone needs to score fucking goal for this kid. DAWS deserved this win. Don't screw him out of a win in his first game of the year. First start of the year. And didn't happen. Glass comes up. DAWS makes another big save in the 7th round. And finally, and the last two or three shooters, I think from Dougie on, I kept going, Timo. And then I'd wait and hear, because before the broadcast mentioned it, I could hear the in-arena loudspeaker. So I heard him say Dougie Hamilton. I heard him say Tatar. I heard Luke Hughes. And I'm like, now before this one, I'm like, if it's not Timo, I'm going to break my television, because how many other guys are going to go before Timo? And I'm like, Timo. And sure enough, I'm listening. My ears perk up, and I hear on the in-arena loudspeaker, number 28, Timo Meyer. And Timo comes in, does his little dipsy-do, and rips it past the Penguins netminder.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Timo Meyer, baby. For all the haters, it's Timo time, baby. Oh, it's Timo time. Number 28 in your programs. Number 1 in this man's heart. Timo Meyer, baby, comes in and seals the win for your New Jersey Devils in the seventh round of a shootout. Number 28, Timo Meyer. And for all the haters, I understand he has been a little snake bitten. He is not scoring the amount of goals that all of us would like to see. However, for the 900th time, there are intangibles. He does drive plays. He has been getting assists. He's a big, nasty man. People don't like playing against him. He's a little bit of an antagonizer, a pest, if you will. An absolute bull of a man, hits people. Our lineup, for the most part on offense, is undersized children. Timo is a man, uses his man body. And while, again, he did not get one in regulation and people have been talking smack, he comes up when it matters most, sends the Devils with the walk-off goal, 7th round of the shootout. And now you could say in the past week or whatever it's been, for even the haters, you cannot deny Timo Meyer has won us 2 games now. He won the game tonight, and he won that game in Montreal, and he raced to that puck and got it ahead to Jack Hughes. Obviously, Jack finished it, but that's made up of a hustle by Timo Meyer. And so for all the Timo haters, you people are ridiculous. What a game. What a win for your New Jersey Devils. Again, not the prettiest win, but they blew the 2-goal lead. They buckled down, found a way to win by the skin of our teeth. It doesn't get much closer. The 7th round of a shootout, and what a phenomenal win. We needed the 2 points. Again, we did not play well by any stretch, but a win is a win. 2 points is 2 points. Would have been nice to win in regulation. It is what it is. And wow, what a game. We go to the game stats. Let me just reload them here. Devils with 21 shots on goal, not nearly enough. Again, they really just, the offense looked kind of sleepy for a lot of the game. Penguins, 27 shots on goal. Devils owned in the faceoff circle. Again, missing NICO big time, and even with Hall back, didn't help that much. Devils 37% to the Penguins 63%. Devils 0 for 3 on the power play. Absolutely atrocious. When you are at this juncture of the season, this was game 60. It's crazy, guys. Every game is a war now. We got 22 games. Not 60. Game 54. I think it's game 54, 28. I don't know. I just had a brain fart. Game 55. Okay, 27 games left. Every game is a playoff war. There is no more bullshit outings. Every game, you got to go out there and play like it's game 7 of the Cup Finals. But the power play, powerless. 0 for 3. And in a spot like tonight, you cannot afford to go 0 for 3 on the power play. And a 4-minute, we got lucky with that 4-minute little stick. Every time someone gets high stick now, I'm like, bleed. Because, when they bleed, you get the double minor, 4-minute power play versus the 2. And when they said 4 minutes, I'm like, we got to bury one here and take the 2-0 lead. They did nothing with it. But again, the power play runs hot and cold tonight, ice cold. looked ugly at times, 0 for 3. Penalty kill showed up once again. Penguins 0 for 3 on their power plays. Devils 21 hits. Would like to see more ideally, but 21 hits is respectable, I suppose. Pittsburgh Penguins 19 hits. Devils with 10 block shots. Penguins with 21 block shots. Devils 16 giveaways. Penguins with 19 giveaways. Devils with 5 takeaways, and the Penguins with 7 takeaways. And wow, what a huge win. What a huge win. Lose Siegenthaler in the process. It seems like he could be out for, it seems like he's going to be out for a little bit here. And obviously people were saying bring up Nemitz or, get Nemitz on the plane. The reality is because Nemitz is a right D and Siegenthaler is a left D, I do believe for the least disruption for the team. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they will cater to Nemitz crying because obviously that interview became a bigger thing than it was. And, it turned into Nemitz is unhappy and he's going to want to trade or he wants a trade. And I do think he was just being very, open and honest about his thoughts of being in the minors versus the NHL. But, maybe that plays into the Devils' decision. I hope it wouldn't. I will tell you that, someone saying something like that would have no impact on the legend of Lou Lamoriello whatsoever. He would bring up the next D-man that he thought gave the team the best chance to win. And if the team is not catering to Nemitz, I do believe the next guy on deck is going to be Santeri Hatakka. Showed some poise in some games he's played in. A natural left side defender. And so I do think, if they were to bring Nemitz up, they would have to push somebody to their offside. And I just think that's a lot of flux. Now, if a right-handed D went down, I do think that Shimo Nemitz would be the first one up. I fully agree with that. And it still could happen. Maybe the whole incident plays a role in them wanting to bring Nemitz up, but that will force somebody else to their offside. I don't think for 1 second Nemitz's return to the NHL, the team would put him on his offside, meaning left instead of right. And the left side is what's open now with Siegs going down. And so in terms of the most flawless interjection into the lineup, I do believe it will be Hatakka. But I could be wrong. And, Seamus Casey is always a potential as well. He actually is a right-handed shot, but he played left D and right D, and he played left D for the Devils. And so a lot of decisions for, I guess, Keefe and Fitzy to make. Do you bring up which one? Is it Casey and just slot him right there on the left? Do you bring up Hatakka, slot him? Or no, Casey's still hurt. My bad. I forgot. Casey's still hurt. Everyone was telling me that before. But if this is a long-term injury for Siegenthaler, I don't think Casey's injury is that serious, but maybe it is. I keep forgetting he's hurt. But for the moment, it'll be either Nemitz and forcing someone else to their offside or Hatakka. My money's on Hatakka. I could be wrong. We'll see how they play that out. But another game, another injury. I mean, it's crazy. You can't make this stuff up. Last season was a season of horrors with the injuries. A complete season of horrors, and it seems like it's continuing this year. I mean, luckily in the beginning it was mostly depth pieces, which again, injuries to anyone sucks, but injuries to guys like Lazar and Bastian are easier to swallow than injuries to guys like Jack and Brad or Jack and Nico. And it seemed like we were, doing okay with the injuries. We got some depth pieces hurt, and then then Markey goes down, then Nico goes down, Haula was already out. And now it's like Haula back in, and now another one out. One in, one out. Haula comes back. Siegs is out. Terrible. Just terrible luck. Hopefully the D doesn't really miss a beat with whoever they bring up. But, yeah, ugly game for the Devils. I mean, listen, those power plays were they were snooze fests. I think they get one shot in the 4-minute one. It was terrible. But a win is a win. They got to get back to New Jersey, figure out what the game plan is going into Thursday night's matchup with the Golden Knights, and hopefully try to find a way to win that one too, because none of these games are going to be easy. But wow, what a thrilling victory! I mean, there's nothing else to say other than thrilling victory. Maria D, love me some Timo time. What's up, Maria? Red Devil, Timo. It's Timo time for sure. Mike, guy's a bull. He absolutely is. Beautiful shot, says M. Sharp. Michaela, undersized children. I mean, they are. Listen, Timo is a man amongst boys. We need more men, and don't add any more boys. Now you inject men. We absolutely need men. Jack, I think it's going to be Hatakka. I just said. People still talking smack on Timo. I'm just going to ignore it. Dimitri, Luke can be elegant. I respect his skills. He just has to try moving others and resist being moved. I know he needs to fill out that frame. Yeah, he's still a young boy, guys. He's 21. His man body will be here in a few years, and I look forward to it. Another couple seasons of seasoning in the NHL for Luke with a little more man size, a little more man strength, and he's going to be an absolute beast. Absolute beast, I believe he will be, and I look forward to telling certain people among us that I was correct with my contract prediction for him. Joe Mama, the Canes lost tonight, which helps us. That's always good. I mean, I would love to catch them, but, at this point, I'm just taking this thing game by game. I'm just trying to win single games here. Mostly crazy all the time. I love all these Timo haters. Ryder, everyone named Nico has played well in 2025, actually. Oh. I forgot. Let me give some love.
He breaks laws and maybe jaws. Kicking him in net, Nico DAWS.
Kicking him in net, Nico DAWS. Giving up 2 goals on 27 shots. Looked very solid in there, the young man. I had to come back and talk about Nico DAWS. Listen, people want to cling to his AHL stats in Utica, and there's so many variables and, bad defenses, bad goaltending. The team started off on an awful stretch. Either way, I don't put too much stock into that, and I'm more of a show me at the NHL level guy. And he looked very good tonight, and I'm not going to lie. He seems to be better in shootouts than Jacob Markstrom. I love Markey, but Markey doesn't seem too great, and I believe the stats kind of reflect that he's not great in the shootouts. With even Markey in net tonight, we could have possibly lost in the shootout. 7 rounds of shootout, that's crazy. But what a game for DAWS. He should have been one of the stars of the game. Did he get what I meant to look? He didn't. Wow. They screwed the kid. But great game for him. I think he is probably the most likely guy, at least on the depth chart at the moment, slated to be that 1B guy in the tandem behind Markey next season. And he's probably going to get a good amount of starts next year as he prepares to hopefully become the next franchise goaltender for your New Jersey Devils. But maybe he's not. There's going to be other guys fighting for it too. Isaac Poulter's obviously going to have a say in that. And then you have the guys like Brennan and Malik. I'm not sure what the plans for Yegorov is, if that's, a year or 2 away. But we have a lot of goalie prospects. One of them has to pan out, and it very well may be Nico DAWS. We will see how that all plays out. John Fay, agreed, Ace. Let's talk about the BS power play we were witnessing. Yeah, it was painful. Absolutely painful. Just not a lot of shots generated, and I don't know. Maybe we need to start switching up the personnel. Maybe we should try 5 forwards. In one of those situations. Try 5 forwards. We did it in that overtime. Not 5 forwards, but or was it? No, was it 4 forwards? Because we had the power play. I think it was 4 forwards. But either way, when it runs stale like that, maybe give some other guys a look, because that was abysmal. And again, as people pointed out, getting later into the season and into the playoffs, you cannot afford your power play to be powerless. The power play must be connecting. Otherwise, you are just in for a world of pain. And tonight, it was bad. It truly was bad. And it was I'm not going to say it was a horrible game from the Devils, but it wasn't a good game. If you're being honest about it, it was not a good game at all. But they found a way to win, and that's what good teams do. Good teams find a way to win. Even on an off night, even when you're playing like crap. And listen, I'm not going to, sugarcoat this either. It's been an off year. The 2025 calendar year has been pretty bad for the Devils. That's the reality of it. They have not been playing good, but they found a way to win. I mean, at this point, I was just heading into tonight. It was just like, please go 2-1, or better. Obviously, better is even better, but get at least 4 of the next 6 points. Can we please heal up and hopefully come back from the 4 Nations break looking like the team, or at least more like the team we saw before the holiday break? And step 1 is down. 2 out of 2 is in the bag. And now if they could win 1 out of 2 of the next 2 or better, would be phenomenal. Obviously, I'd love them to win the next 2. Beat the Knights at home and then go to Montreal and beat them again. That'd be great to finish 3-0 with 6 points. But they got to win 1 of the next 2 for sure. Teams are coming on strong. Jeep, every time we play Timo on the left and we lose, the haters are going to hate on him, and we all know why. At this point, I can't even. I talked about it so much last season. They're never going to put him on the right. I don't know why. And it's kind of frustrating, we could just go, drop off a highlight reel of his time in San Jose where he's parked on the right, he's playing right wing. He's parked in the circle on the right on the power play. And that's, how he became the player that he became and why we traded so much for him and why we offered him so much money to stay here is because his body of work. And to use them in a different fashion other than what their specialty is mind-boggling. But hey, Ryan Fisher, whoever said Timo didn't get points, Timo got 2 huge points tonight, the only points that matter. The haters can't count that, right? Because it's not points. But again, in the past week, Timo won the game tonight, and he also won that Montreal game with the hustle play to spring Jack on the breakaway. I mean, again, if you're just completely discredit that, that's 4 massive points in the standings. Jay Snow, the reality is the Devils are power play merchants. That's how we put games away. There's a little bit of truth to that. I do think we could win games without the power play. Obviously, we did tonight, but, a lot of the games we have won, the power play has been an element of it, especially when it's hot. We've had like 3 for 4 power play nights, 2 for 3. Absolutely. Joe Mama, injuries are piling up, man. Are we cursed or something? We might be. We absolutely might be. I hope it goes away soon, but my God, the bodies are piling up. Jay Snow says, give Nemitz his shot. Again, you're going to have to force someone else to their offside. And so, again, for the minimal amount of disruption to the overall lineup, like I said, if it was a right D, Nemitz, in my opinion, no-brainer, he's the first call-up. But you're talking about a left D, and so you're not going to play Nemitz again after being in the AHL for months. His first game thrust him back into action on his offside. And so that means if you do bring Nemitz up, you're going to have to push someone else over to their offside and plug him in on the right. And it just seems like it could be a lot for a somewhat fragile team at the moment. I'd like to keep it simple, and that's why I'm hoping it's Hadika. True Patriot Jack needs to figure out how to score in the shootout. Take a sloppy one with a depleted team. Take 2 and move on. Sieg's down. Shimon coming up. We're going to find out how that all plays out. Ted says needed that from Timo Meyer. What a game. Dogzilla, Timo with the monster shot. Great win. Can't believe Jack on the penalty shots. They need to send him to Tony Robbins for motivational mindset counseling on shootouts. Man. Ryder, horrible is an overstatement, but we were nasty in December 5-on-5. Michaela says, I liked Hadika last season. Jason, no, I think teams just realize the Devils won't attack the middle. Ryder, Kovacevic played offside before it was a known fact in preseason. But I think a couple guys can. So, like I said, maybe they will do that. To me, that would be, listen, I like Nemitz, but I do think it would be wiser to bring up Hadika. But we're going to see. We're going to find out. Snow, maybe Fitz trades for a guy with Term and Mercer out. I can't see Mercer getting traded this season. I just can't. I could be wrong. Stanley, Timo's looked better than last year when he was injured frequently, but I feel like he's producing less. I'm not looking up stats, just an observation. He's on pace for like 50 something, I think. I'd like to see him finish with 55 or 60, but listen, he's doing other things to help the team win. And like I pointed out, nothing is more important than wins. And he literally has won us 2 games in this past week. He won tonight's game and he won that Montreal game. Woodson, I'm glad the first we gave up for Markey is top 10 protected. The team is regressing as the season goes on. Oh, God. Devin G, bad game, good win. I agree there. Ryder64, you two are just insane. At least Snow and I bring real conversation to the mix. You two are just off the rails. Joe Mama, at least the injuries are happening now and not in March. Yeah, I mean, the later the injuries happen, obviously, the worse it is. But I can't wait till Nico and Markey come back. Random man, Stanley, supposedly his offense is down from his time in SJ, but his defense stats are way up. Also, keep in mind, again, for the 900th time, he's being used on his not on his natural side. He should be on the right wing. He's being played on the left wing, and he doesn't get a lot of power play time. Those are 2 huge things that are going to impact production. Jason, no, Timo's only a man amongst boys compared to the Devils. No, I wouldn't say he's just, tough for the Devils. I mean, he would be a tough forward on any team. John Fake, we go back to our power play for a second. How the hell have we not been able to bury squad on the power play when during the beginning of the season we were burying power play goals on 50% of our power play? It's just one of those things. For whatever reason, we're not even like generating shots. I don't know. I think sometimes they do try to do too much instead of just throwing it on net. But you know, to generate one shot or whatever it was, I think one shot, in a 4-minute power play is awful. I mean, that's just inexcusable. And especially with the guys we have, like you might expect that from a team that really doesn't have any. Even bad teams should generate more than one shot on a 4-minute power play. Zach, those PK intros never get old. They'll never get old to me. I love it. With the second I saw it, I said, "This is gold. This is pure gold. 24-karat gold." The first, oh man, when I saw it, I think I saw it when I got home from the game. I was at the game. I got home late and I binged. I was up like all night just watching clips and different things from all over the place and scouring the internet. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh baby, thank you for this gift, PK, that you've given me. It's an eternal gift. It's not like like a one-time, like, oh, here. No, that was like, here's a lifetime of treasure." And I was like, "Thank you, PK. I will receive this treasure and I will do what you're supposed to do with it." How about Nico DAWS, guys? How about Nico DAWS? What can you say? He could be the next one.
He breaks laws and maybe jaws. Kicking him in that Nico DAWS.
Wow. Nico DAWS, guys. He could be a very solid tandem guy, and hopefully he develops into a great starter. It's way too early to know. He probably got a little rushed last season out of necessity, but he's going to be amongst the guys fighting for that spot. And our boy, Mikhail Yegorov, is looking like a beast. Quite a start to his college career out there at Boston University. Looking like a monster. Just picked up another big win yesterday in the Beanpot tournament. Boston U crushed Harvard. I think it was 7-1. Yegorov looks like he could be the real deal. He's going to have a say in this future goaltending situation for the Devils. Devin, PK killed that lineup. He definitely did. Jay Snow, Dawes last year made like 4 breakaway saves in one game. He played great in that Stadium Series as well. M Sharp, Dawes looks so big in net. I thought he got the 3rd star. No. The 3 stars were Raquel was number 3, number 2, Jesper Bratt, and number 1, jackhughes. Dawes was great tonight. Random man, Dawes, Poulter, Yegorov. Yeah, those are the 3 in no particular order that I believe have the best chance. And then there's, the Brennan, Malik. There's a couple others below that. But to me, if I had to say who are the top 3, I would say that those are the 3 that I believe have the best chance. Dawes, Poulter, and Yegorov. And, in the post-Markstrom world for the Devils, we could see 2 of those 3 make up the tandem. Sammy Yegorov looks really good in NCAA from what I've heard he does. I've seen some clips, and I watched the whole game yesterday. He looks really good. DC Marvel Girl, this makes up for the loss against Buffalo on Sunday. Between the Buffalo loss and being at Prue, when PWHL New York Sounds lost to Montreal, both those losses stung. This doesn't make up for the loss against Buffalo, DC Marvel Girl. Makes us feel a little bit better, but man, that's a hard loss. Joe Mama, too bad Blackwood didn't work out here. Yeah, I've talked about him a lot in the past. I defended him for years. I have some friends that wanted him gone like super early, and I just saw too much promise. There was games where he looked like amazing. Just seeing every puck, stopping everything. He had some shutouts on some not so great teams. And he just had nights where you're like, this kid looks like the real deal. Unfortunately, it just took him too long to get it all together, and it wasn't happening when he was on the Devils. And we moved on from him. I think there's a good chance. There's a good chance that he wins a cup in Colorado. I mean, good for him. He got sent to San Jose, which is probably terrible for a little bit. Nice climate, but on a young rebuilding team, not the, most ideal situation for a young goaltender. And he had some pretty solid stats behind a bad team. Colorado had a goaltending need, and they went out and revamped the whole thing. They went out and got former Devil Scott Wedgwood from the Preds. Then they picked up Mackenzie Blackwood from the Avs, and now they have both of our former goalies as their tandem, and they're doing damn good behind that Avalanche team. And so it didn't work out here, and it's unfortunate. And it would be nice to still have him, obviously, but I think we're in good hands with the guys we have in the post-Markey era, and I love Markey for this season and next, and that is why We must be a win-now team. Jacob Markstrom could be a Stanley Cup champion, backstopping goaltender. Treat him as such. Go get the pieces. Stanley Fitzgerald made the right picks at the time, but at a certain point, you have to recognize when the mix isn't right. The team is not built well, and a bold move shake-up to change the identity. Okay. Jack says, I would love 5 forwards on the power play. Jack, Nico, Bratt, Nason, Meyer. Put Luke and Dougie both on power play, too. That would cook with Mercer and Halla and Cotter. Be interesting. Brett, Timo on the right. Obviously, Timo on the right makes so much sense. We've all wanted it forever. Timo on power play 1, Timo on the right for sure. Devin says we are 4-2 in our last 6. I mean, that's cutesy to point out, but I can't, in my right consciousness, look at the last 6 and be like, we're 4-2 in our last 6 and like fist pump that. Cause then, what is the record in the previous 15 or so before then? Trash. So 4-2 in the last 6 is great, but SJ, I'm just relieved they're winning some. Just don't blow the playoffs. Get into the playoffs. Joe, Cotter had the icebreaker starting the shootout, which was key. Very nice for him. What's going on, Walt? Happy for DAWS. Happy for finding a way to win. Cringing for the second half of the game, especially that third period. Teams are struggling, figuring out how to play NJ, and they need to switch it up as a result. Yeah, it is. Again, the physical intensity did not seem, up to par for me where we are in the season. Like, I just want to see the tenacious New Jersey Devils. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Want it more than the other teams and play like it. They really didn't tonight. I mean, they did get lucky to an extent. I thought after the Pittsburgh Penguins tied it up that we were going to lose. We just did not play good. Weren't the stars Hughes, Bratt, and DAWS? No, DAWS did not get one. Raquel got the 3rd star. Hughes, number 1, Bratt, number 2. SST, if Holtz plays next game, he's going to score a hat trick as an ex-Devil scripted. Is he up with the big club right now, or is he still in the AHL? I haven't looked at that. If I was the Golden Knights, I would 100% bring him into the game. I mean, just seeing what ex-Devils have done to us for, it feels like multiple seasons now. I mean, wouldn't that be terrible? Holtz comes to the Pro and just gets like 2 goals and gets the game winner. Joe Mama, I shoot lefty and always liked playing on the right wing. Same for me. I'm also a lefty. And yeah, and last year when they were asking Timo about it, I was getting mad because he was like, I could play either one. I'm like, shut your mouth, Timo, and tell them that you're a right winger. Stop being like, I could play both. Yeah, I could technically play on left wing too, but I'd much rather play on right wing like Joe Mama. That's how a lot of guys like it. If you're right-handed, you'd like to play left, and if you're left-handed, you'd like to play right. It just makes sense. Why can't Nemitz play on the left? He's a right-handed right defenseman. So defenseman, it's very much dictated by the hand of your shot. So if you're a righty, you're a right D for the most part. If you're a lefty, you're a lefty. And for a lot of guys, people think like, oh, it's not that different. It's very different, especially at the NHL level. And so you never really want to force a guy on his offside if you don't have to. And now if they do bring Nemitz up, they'll force somebody else on their offside so that Nemitz could play his natural right side. Jay Snow, ace. Coming into tonight since Christmas, Jack had 4 goals and Bratt had 2. Jack McCabe's younger, faster, and smaller than other right-handed D on the team. He'd play better than 7, 8, or 22 on the left. I don't know about that. Throw Big Mac in there on D. Yeah, he has played D in the past. I can't see it. I don't think I said it like weeks ago when someone mentioned something about that. I don't think we'll ever see Curtis McDermott dress as a defenseman for the Devils. I mean, that would just be. Yo, Holmes, what's going on? Chico was talking about how today was dollar hot dog night in Pittsburgh. Oh man, I missed those. I fell behind again, guys. Ryder, night boys, be good. Glad I could be in here after being out of town for a bit. We got a W. Let's go Devils. Good night, Ryder. True Patriot, don't understand all the Timo hate. Guy does things in games that don't get tallied on score sheets. Power play time is minimal and playing offside. Timo is an agitator and pays dividends. Well said, True Patriot. In the end, sensible people understand this. However, we are surrounded, and I mean surrounded, by insensible people that are straight up looking at points and assists, goals and assists only. And if it's not goals or assists, they want no parts of it. And so they'll even discredit a shootout winner tonight. They'll discredit the hustle play that led to the Jack Hughes overtime winner in Montreal. I mean, what more do you guys want from they all? The problem is they had unrealistic expectations. And so when Timo got paid that money, they thought he was going to be an 80, 90 point guy, which is just ludicrous. And so ever since, he's been a whipping boy. Paulie Walnuts, notice how in the shootout, Timo took the shot from the right-hand side. It's crystal clear that is the side he is most comfortable and successful. 1,000%. He's a left-handed shot, and that's where he played forever. Even if he picks up any puck around mid-ice or anywhere towards the middle, he always drives the right side because that's his go-to. It's completely correct, Paulie. But despite all of that, somehow the Devils still refuse to put him there. I don't know why, but it's clear. And same on the shootout. A guy will always drift to the side they want to go to, and it's always going to be the right for him. Gem card collecting King Yegerov. In his interview, he said, I want to be the best goalie in the NHL. Talk about shooting for the moon. I love it. Yeah, I like the kid. He seems to have a little bit of a personality, too. I'll be rooting for him for sure. Cheddar, you like the team's performance tonight? No, I do not, but I like 2 points. Stanley, the Timo hate is a result of his salary. The two would be a lot different if he were out hurt. One of the few capable of playing a heavier game. Another very truthful statement. But again, these folks are just looking at goals and assists, and that's what they're judging him on. LJ got to beat Vegas 3-8-3 in their last 14. That's quite the spiral. My God. So that's what, 9 points out of 28? Oh my God. Let me run the math on that. That's going to be like a 320. 9. 9 out of 28 is a 321 points percentage. Oh my God. That's like a New Jersey Devils slide right there. That is ugly. I'm thinking Vegas might try to do something at the deadline. That's terrible. 321 hockey over 14 games. Brutal. John Fay, if Yegerov looks promising, it looks like he has a bright future when he comes up to the Devils. I agree. John Woodson, guess how we got Yegerov? By trading Marino for 2 second-rounders. Asset management. Oh, go to sleep, Woodson. Go to sleep. Yegerov's still not here. I'm not going to shoot off fireworks yet. I think he's going to be good. But in the end, we need to win now. Yegerov is, what is Yegerov going to be? Hopefully a 2028 Cup champion? I mean, come on. Hadaka is healthy. I believe he was activated a couple weeks ago. Jeep, watch that Beanpot. Yegerov is elite. John Fay, McLeod in the BMW line will always be the best Devils fourth line. I think the Crash line has something to say about that, John Fay. I'm not sure how long you've been a fan, but there's some guys behind me known as the Crash line, possibly the greatest fourth line in hockey history, a massive part of the New Jersey Devils' 1995 Stanley Cup championship run. Woodson, Markey still isn't even in the top 10. Oh, my God. Jace, no, the only consistent thing about the Devils is they're super inconsistent. That is true. That is absolutely true. Ryan Fisher, dude, can we talk about how the refs could miss that hook trip in the middle of the ice in OT on Luke? That's 4 refs like how. Yeah, that was Sid. And Dano was like, Sid got away with one. Sid got away with one. He was fired up. Dano was fired up that Sid got away with it. I mean, that's when you're dealing with a legend in their own building, a lot of times they'll get the benefit of calls like that. And I thought, obviously, the refs, I thought there was a lot of terrible calls on the Devils as well. Just a lot of soft calls. I mean, that one that Haula drew a penalty, but then they said he got called for elbowing. The guy was behind him. Like, it was just super weird. I thought, bad officiating once again, but they overcame it. Stick figs. What time is it? It's time to stop. It's time to stop letting Jack take shootouts. Holtz played tonight. Oh boy. So he's going to be looking for blood. Devin G, a shootout win press is rare and the governor tweets about it. Okay. Jack, what was the shootout order? Yeah, Hamilton, Tatar, and Luke Hughes over Meyer. Yeah, I was shocked. After the first three, I was like, Timo's got to be next. Then I'm like, Timo's got to be next. Timo's got to be next. Then eventually he ended it, forcing DAWS to make some extra saves on the night. But wow, did he stand tall. And John Fay, I think that's exactly what it is. I hate to say it, Jack will always go in the shootout no matter what, which I don't think is right. But Alex, did Timo play on the right last March? I believe he played on the right almost, or at least most of the time after Lindy was fired. Travis Green put him on the right side, and I believe he was giving him power play one time as well. Woodson, I love Timo, but these people cheesing over a shootout goal is funny. It wasn't just a shootout goal. It was the game-winning shootout goal in the 7th round. Yes, London voice, this is live. Devin, Timo was on the right side last March. Travis Green decision to move him to the right. Chris, what's up, mate? How you feel about the anthem being booed in Vancouver? I hate all this stuff. I just think it's all silly. I personally like to leave politics and world events and whatever other bullshit baggage people have. Just leave it out of sports. So I don't like any of the crossover, and it seems like it's been an epidemic in the past decade or so of just leave it all out. I don't want to know about it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. We're here to watch a hockey game, and I just think it's in poor taste to use that stage for other stuff, but that's just my opinion. Amagi, $1 hot dog night at the Rock would be a Christmas miracle or something. They had it years ago. I went with a couple of my buddies. I want to say it was like 10 years ago, maybe even more. And I forget how many hot dogs I had. I want to say I had about 12. We had a contest. Obviously, I won. I think it was 12. John Woodson, Fitz was going to get a depth defenseman anyways, the trade deadline. Now, at least he may have 3.4 extra in LTIR to use in reference to the Siegs injury. Brian J., everyone here thinks they know better than the Devils coaches in regard to what side Timo plays on. There's a reason Ruff and now Keefe don't play him there. It's laughable. I don't think it's laughable at all because the body of work is there and the evidence is there. He played on the right side in San Jose. Not a debatable point. That's not an opinion. That is not someone's thoughts. That is fact. He played on the right. So for the however many years he was in San Jose, he played on the right side. Fact number one. Fact number two. He also performed very well on the right side when Green put him there after Lindy got canned. Fact number two, not debatable. Led the league in goals in March. And so to say it's laughable if people talk about this, your statement here is laughable. This is laughable because the proof is there. His whole career in San Jose, his time under Green at the end of last season. Furthermore, as I forget who pointed out earlier, I think it may have been Yo Holmes or someone else, you could tell that's his more comfortable side because when he has an option to drive either side, he always drives up the right. I mean, that's not a coincidence. So I think you're completely off base here. We want better overall play. Obviously, I do too, but we won the game tonight. I'm going to enjoy the win. Jack McCabe, Devils' first shootout win in 23 months. Almost unbelievable. Oh, my God. So our last shootout win must have been shortly after, I guess sometime in February, shortly after our last 4-game winning streak. Johnny Danks, what's up? What up, A? Started following you, IG. Thank you, sir. If you're not following me on Instagram and you're an Instagrammer, follow me on the IG. There'll be some, I'm trying to figure out what types of stuff people want to see on that regularly. I'm going to start mixing it up. I have a lot of cool stuff to put on there. So there's going to be stuff on there that you wouldn't find anywhere else. Oh, man. I guess let me I'll drop the link for the Instagrammers. There'll be some Instagram contests and stuff on there too. But what a night, guys. Your New Jersey Devils come out, and it wasn't a good game. Again, I'm not here to try to pretend it was. It was not an ugly game. But it's 2 points we desperately needed, and we need to heal up quick. But if you're not following me on Instagram and you're on the gram, if you're on the old gram, hit the link in the chat there and, follow me on Instagram. John Woodson, Yeagerov fits my cup window in 3 to 4 years. Dude, the cup window is now, Woodson. Go to bed. So Nico might not even be here in 3 or 4 years. There's no guarantees, but we have a core in place right now with some nice supplemental pieces. Hopefully we add some more, and the time to try to win a cup is right now. Chris, yeah, Yegerov is a Devils goalie prospect. He's currently playing at Boston University right now, and he looks pretty good. John Fay, the crash line will always be number one ace, but just saying, in my opinion, the BMW line was one of our best lines during the Devils' darkest times. Oh yeah, for sure. But what is the, who's even who's even a notable second place? Evan, what's the update on Markey? Jake Allen has looked solid, better than years past. If we were on your second goalie, he's probably going to come back shortly after the Four Nations. It'd be great if he comes back right away, but I don't know. He still might miss some games. He might miss some games after Four Nations. Jay Snow, I was left shot, played the left wing. It's easier to protect the puck with your body. You liked playing left wing as a lefty, Jay Snow? Vic, I'll bet all the Americans on the Canucks appreciated that. I agree, Ace. Leave politics out of it. Oh, last thing on this point. I think the first game it happened was in Ottawa. And when I saw it, I'm not going to lie, I was like, because guess who's the captain of the Ottawa Senators? That's right, my friends. Brady Tkachuk, a good old American boy, is the captain of the Ottawa Senators, and he was out there on the ice while his fans booed his country's anthem. I hope that hurt his soul. He is about to play for the American team in the Four Nations face-off in about a couple weeks, and I hope that really bothered him, and I hope that just he remembers that in the back of his mind for if and when the time comes that he's like, you know what? I'm out of here, baby. Ship me to the New Jersey Devils. Oh, man. Devin G, I have a signed Timo game stick from Sports Minded. Was so pumped and grabbed it and took an air shot. Grabbed it and took an air shot to the dismay of the girlfriend. Great shootout winner. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, they no better memorabilia in my book, obviously, than the game used, game worn stuff. And shout out to Sports Minded. They do a great job with all the signings. I know that Timo was there recently. What a great piece. A Timo signed stick. So you know better than the coaches? No one's saying they know better than the coaches, but again, you don't need to be a coach if you have data. They're so obsessed with data. So stick with me for a minute. If you're so obsessed with data, then how could you ignore the data of how much damage the guy did on the right side, both here and in San Jose? If you compare it to him on the left, it's very different. So you can't live in both worlds. You can't be an analytics-driven team and then ignore the production of the two sides. So no one's saying they know better than the coaches, but to say it's ridiculous to even question it is ridiculous in itself because the difference is pretty glaring. There has to be a reason he's playing on the left side. I'd have to believe it's because they think that gives them the most balanced lines. I don't know. It's kind of maddening. I really want to see him on the right side. Dimitri, I don't think Anthem should be booed. Ryan, refs always miss multiple calls a game against the Devils. It certainly seems like that. So it sounds like the coach. No one's saying they're purposely sabotaging him. They obviously must have some rationale for it. And like I said, and most likely it's they believe with him on that side, that gives them the most balanced lines and the best options to kind of mix and match guys. But I would love to see him on the right side. Jack, I'm going to be honest. I almost turned the TV off when I saw 7 in the shootout. No idea how he scored, but 86 and 63 look like they never played hockey when they're in the shootout. I mean, I still give Brad. Would put Brad out there in my top 3. But I would not put Jack, and it's nothing against Jack, but for whatever reason, he does not play well. He doesn't get off great shootout attempts, and his record on the shootout percentage-wise is very poor. And so I wouldn't put him out, but he is going to get put out there every time. So, Ryan, they didn't play well, but we were certainly entertained. Absolutely. Vicariously, DAWS was so impressive, especially in OT. Hollis seems super helpful, especially for a first returning game. If they could pull off that victory after such a stack of stupid decisions, I will take it. Yeah, for sure. Woodson, I don't know how anyone could possibly think we make it out of round 2 of the playoffs with this core. Because with a hot goalie and just getting hot at the right time, anything could happen. Anything could happen, my friend. And so I'll take my chances. Glass, I just watched your Connor Bedard warm-up video. They were worshiping him like a god. It's insane. That was from last season, and it was pretty crazy. Like, there was tons of Blackhawks or Bedard fans there, and yeah, it was like the biggest deal. I was kind of shocked, at the kind of hoopla surrounding him. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be a great player in this league as well. But it did seem a little over the top, in my opinion. Woodson, Fitz would have to hit a home run on a new bottom 6 in the offseason for us to do damage in the playoffs. We'll see. I don't know. Chris, Ace, clever on the Kachuk comment. That family is very patriotic. They certainly seem that way. And hopefully that was just the first little nudge to set the ball or the wheels in motion. Again, I'm just joking. I don't think the Senators are going to trade him anytime soon. They are relevant now. They're going to probably be a playoff team. And that's what he wants. But in the end, I don't know that one playoff appearance is going to totally kind of change his outlook on the organization as a whole. And I just have to believe that he'd rather be playing somewhere else. And hopefully, someday it could be the New Jersey Devils. But after it didn't happen last offseason, I thought the chance was, much less because we had the number 10 overall pick. We had tons of cap space. And now that we've drafted with the pick and we don't have the, cap space, I just don't see what the point is or what the point of obsessing over it is. I would love it to happen, but I just think the dream is dead, I think. John Woodson, if they knew they were going to play Timo on the other side, why trade for him? It's a great question. Like, yeah, why did you trade for him to force him on the other side? Stanley, round 2, they'd be lucky to push round 1 to 6 games at this rate. Come on, guys. Devils for life. Hit the like and subscribe button for our man Ace and those Devils tonight. Thanks, Devils for life. You guys know I forget to talk about that stuff, but that would certainly help. Dimitri, we need a few players like Sarge, Sergei Brelin. Yeah, every cup hopeful team needs to have depth guys that are willing to take their role and run with it. And Sarge is a great example of that. A member of all 3 Devils Cup teams, the quintessential team guy. Devin G, hit the like for the Timo game winner, y'all. Glass, can you make a Celebrini warm-up video too? I didn't go to the Sharks game, and they already came here. I think that, yeah, they already came here. Jay Snow says, release Bastion and Tatar. Woodson, shouldn't have went to OT if they played a better third period. Well, obviously. I mean, that, not having to go to overtime would have been ideal, but I'll take the win. Dimitri, Jack needs to practice 3-4 shootout dekes. He just gets too fancy in his head overthinking. I think that's a little bit of it. Woodson, another third period dud. Yeah, we can't, there's nowhere else to slice the other way to put it. That was a terrible third period. Devin, don't disagree at all. Miserable game overall, but 2 points. I'm in. SST says keep Tatar, release Lazar. I don't think do you guys think they're going to be this much of a shakeup before the playoffs? I think there's going to be a lot of things that could happen. That could happen in the summer, but I just don't see that happening in the season. Insane Pollock, Bastion had 2 huge blocks early on. Yes, he did. He's been playing a lot better since he came back from that Lombard sustained broken jaw. DN Ace, do you live in Essex County from West Orange? Myself, just curious. I live right outside of Essex County, but like super close. John Woodson says the SST hate on Lazar. John Woodson, bro, is injured most of the season. SST says he's always injured. And then Woodson says, imagine playing with Big Mac and Bastion. I'd feel like I'm playing in quicksand. You guys are brutal. Amagi, Bedard is extremely talented, but it's a shame he's riding with the Blackhawks, especially since celebrating the Sharks are having so much more fun. Yeah. That's part of being a high draft pick. You go to a bad team. That's your reward. That's your reward. Walt, so if Timo is to play on the right side, who would fit best on the left? I think it might require a trade to bring in someone that would really fit best on that line rather than a current Devil. I mean, yeah, realistically, I would like 2 bottom 6 guys brought in, which essentially would force 2 bottom 6 guys out, right? And so, I'm not going to name specific guys, but you could look at our lineup and say, well, I think there's upgrades available. But I think they're just going to keep Timo on the left. I really do. John Woodson, Cotter is legit carrying this team. Cotter's a beast. Glass, when going to Devils games, what other players have you seen get as much or more love and warm-up as Bedard? You could check out the Connor McDavid one. There's a Connor McDavid one as well, which was pretty crazy. Those videos went crazy. I think those are the two most viewed. And I never thought they would. This was I think over a year ago. Let me see. But I was like, a lot of people like the warm-up stuff. I've always liked the warm-ups. And so, yeah, they were both close together, too. And both videos went crazy. But the Bedard one was kind of nuts. And then also Connor McDavid. I just put the link in the chat there. That one was pretty crazy, too. Insane Pollock, I don't care they got the 2 points. Are you nuts? This is what it's about. Jason, no, I like Nason, but he should be a third line guy. I like Nason. I mean, listen, he's been one of the best surprises for the team this year. And Nason is a third line guy now. They had him on the second line. He's been a third liner, back on the third for a little bit. Ryan Fisher, aren't Bastion and Lazar actually physical? Can't get rid of the actual physicality we have. Bastion is. Laser, I mean, I guess he is a little bit, but he's not. When I say physical, I want like bulldog physical. But Nason had 2 hits tonight. Bastion had 1. Palat had 3. Lazar with 2 hits. Paul Cotter with 3. Eric Holla with 1. Bratter with 1. Brendan Dillon with 4 hits. Dougie Hamilton 2 hits. Kovacevic 2 hits. And those are all the hits. M. Sharp, who was the player mentioned recently that the Devils were possibly looking at? I think Donato from Chicago. But people keep, I feel like people are just making stuff up. Like, where's the source of these rumors? I don't know. I mean, it would make sense. Like I've said for weeks now, there's a ton of guys that would help us. So I'm not going to get caught up on any one guy. I have said Ryan O'Reilly is very high on my list, if not number 1 of realistic targets. But there's a ton of guys. Devin G, I don't think a huge trade is coming for us, but I'd like to see a small bottom 6 addition. You see these bottom 6 players getting traded this year and getting a nice bump and play for the scene change. Yeah, that happens a lot. Jack, Ace, it's way more likely than not the Devils are going to play Carolina round 1. That's going to be a hell of a challenge. I mean, it's going to be really tough. Can you see us realistically beating them? Yes. Yes, I could. Absolutely. We're obviously the underdog, but I've been a fan of hockey long enough to see teams surprise other teams a lot over the time of my fandom, and especially if you have a goalie playing hot. And if Markey could play like he was for basically all of December until he got hurt in January, we're going to be a hard team to beat. And especially if we could tweak this team. Now, I do think, again, they're going to be the favorite and they would be expected to win the series, but it's by no means an unwinnable series. Jack, last year the Canes lost because of their goaltending in the playoffs. Igor outplayed Freddie Anderson. Maybe a similar situation with Markstrom versus Anderson, Kochetkov. Yeah. Goalie play could be everything. Stanley, I don't see Fitzgerald doing anything unless the Devils crash miserably in their cellars. Timo trade aside, he's proven to be too patient when it comes to tweaking the roster on the fly. I hope you're wrong. I hope moves come. And if that happens, I will be very devastated. Insane Pollock, I'm glad I'm not negative Nancy like a lot of you here. Again, I stand by what I said. After Four Nations, you will see the team before the Christmas break again. Bank on it. Oh, I really hope you're right. I really, really, really hope you're right, because whatever happened on that break, the Devils won that first game out of the chute on the 27th in New Jersey against the Canes, and it's been nothing but pain and misery ever since. Straight pain and misery in 2025. And they got to figure it out. Amagi, are you going to be at the game Thursday? Excited to see Vegas again. Would absolutely love to attend a Vegas home game someday. Never been to Vegas in general. I'm probably not going to go to the game Thursday. I have attended a Devils Knights game in Vegas. It was sick. Eric, I'm so confused about the NICO injury. Did he break some ribs? I don't think they ever specified that. I guess there's a chance that they're broken, but that was never put out. And a lot of times with injuries, especially the Devils, you're never going to know. So it's some sort of injury. It's pretty vague. It's possible they're broken. We'll never know. M Sharp, warm-up video of Ovechkin lately is him kneeling on the blue line. He's got to save that energy. What is he, 17 away now? Is he 17 away? Is that what I saw? Yeah, 17 away. Wow, it's crazy that he has a chance to do it this season, especially with missing games. I didn't think there was any chance heading into the season. He's missed games, and he's still right there. Jay Snow, I'm not crapping on Nason, but he shouldn't be playing in the top six. That's why our scoring depth is messed up. He's on the third line now. Jonathan the Zombie, got to address the faceoff percentage. It's crazy they rely solely on one player to win the draw. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I don't think anyone thought it would be as ugly as it is without NICO. But the reality is no one else is winning draws consistently. And once again, tonight, we in the games where it goes horribly, we're usually hovering around 33%, which is 1 out of 3, which essentially means the other team is winning 2 faceoffs for every one of ours. So to get doubled up on in the faceoff circle is pretty brutal, and it's going to be hard to win games like that. It truly is. Hopefully, one of the pieces we add, I would love to see a third line center. A lot of us have talked about that, but a third line center with a knack for winning faceoffs would be a great piece. Dimitri, Nason, and Cotter need to keep just keep rolling. Jason, no, they moved Nason up when we were healthy. Woodson, ace, please. We could beat the Canes, but wouldn't put 100 down on it. Yes, I would. I would put $100 on that. It's good. The Devils are going to be plus probably plus 2. I guess it's hard to say because there's so much hockey between now and then. But I'd imagine plus 200 or so. I would think. Cyril, you can't win a cup without facing contenders anyway. You have to believe in your team and not get so caught up in what's the easiest cup route. I agree with you there as well. Richard, wish we could get a better player on the top line. Plot isn't going to cut it, in my opinion. I just feel like at this point, he's more of a third liner at best. If you guys are sitting around waiting for a top line player, top 6 guy, that I will tell you is, while it's not impossible, it's super unlikely for so many reasons. The most realistic moves that are likely to come forward is probably going to be bottom 6 pieces. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. Cyril, how are some of y'all not in a mental hospital with all this negativity? Who hurt you? I would love to know too. People have just been completely over the top with some of their opinions, and it is what it is. They have a right to be loons. Well, folks have to remember that Fitz isn't going to just make a trade for the sake of it. If it isn't the right beneficial move, he's not going to do it. He did well last offseason. Give him some credit. No, I'll give him that credit, but I'm also going to say I'm pissed about the inactivity during the season last season. And if it's more of the same this season, I'm going to be furious. Stanley Ace, there's no chance the Devils are beating Carolina. We got a taste of a potential series in December and they broke the Devils. They will skate the Devils to dust and they're even better now. I think we're at minimum 500 against them this season. Yeah, we're 2-2 against them. It's crazy. A 4-2 win, then a 4-2 loss. Oh, wait. No, so it's flipped. A 4-2 loss, then 2 4-2 wins for the Devils, and then we lost 5-2. We're 2-2 against them on the season. I mean, obviously that doesn't mean much, but at a minimum, it's got to be somewhat encouraging that through 4 games this season we split. Devin, Canes are obviously a good team, but not a super team like of the past. Washington somehow is the juggernaut this year. I'd rather play Washington than Carolina personally. John, okay, I'm going to head out. What a game, what a win. Let's go Devils. Good night to you, sir. Yo, Holmes, Woodson, please stop with the brutal takes. Thank you. Liam Smith, let's go. I missed the game. Excited to watch your recap video tomorrow. Ryan, tons of Mercer hate. Think he's 5th in points scored so far for the 2020 draft class. Could do worse at pick 18. Yeah, I agree. He's going to have a solid NHL career. Now, whether he lives up to what a lot of people thought he was going to be or hoped he was going to be, that's a different story. But I do believe he's going to have a very lengthy, decent NHL career. Woodson, the only chance we beat the Canes is if we out-goalie them. It's true, but I don't see a scenario where we generate enough chances. Oh, ye of little faith. Woodson says the Canes will just lean on us and we'll fold like a lawn chair. I'm hoping not. Stanley, the NICO injury is especially frustrating because it came off a stupid play on his part, trying to skate through several players. The blue line chipped the puck in. We're not talking about this. Yeah, but, it is what it is. Hockey's a contact sport. These things are going to happen. Michael, Ace Hall is supposed to be the 3C that wins faceoffs. Who do you want to add? People say this after every game, and I say, I'm not going to give specific names because there's just tons of guys out there that could help. I just want Fitz to get 2 of them. Go get 2 of them. Any 2 of them. There's guys that would be an upgrade over Hall as the third-line center. I believe he could also play winger, and so I'm not saying kick him off the team, but, maybe he's a fourth-line center. Dimitri says, what can we get for Mercer for the 9 millionth time? I don't think Mercer's getting traded. I do think he's an important piece of the team that people don't give credit to. And a great point by Woodson. I don't trade Mercer on year 1 of his bridge deal. Why bother? You're not getting much better value out there for $4 million than Dawson Mercer. Evan says, hear me out. We trade Timo for Sidney Crosby. That would never happen. Jack says, Timo Palat for McDavid. The salary evens out. Stanley, the record against the Canes may not be awful, but the run of play is what matters. The last game was all kinds of awful. They had some good puck luck in the win prior. It's just a bad matchup. And I agree it's not an ideal matchup. But to say that they have no chance of winning is maniacal. Richard, so Siegs is likely out for a while. If you were the coach, who are you calling up? Hatika. Centeri Hatika would be my call-up. Natural left side D, slot him right in there, keep it moving. SST, Devils were 2-2 on the Canes in 22-23. What happened in the playoffs? Can someone remind me? Well, so what? We got steamrolled. Okay, that doesn't mean that would happen again. Insane Pollock. Stanley, if not for a Nature's Academy Award performance on the Timo accidental knee, that game goes to OT. And we very well could be talking about a 3-1 record against the Canes this year. But it is what it is. But either way, that aside, 2-2 is how could you say, oh, once the playoff comes, they're just going to kill us? I mean, it's possible, but any team has a chance, and I especially believe with Markstrom on top of his game, it could happen. Let me see. I thought Hatziko was back in there. Now I'm trying to look. I thought he practiced with the team not too long ago. Yeah. Hatica got recalled. Oh no, this is old. This shit's filtering this crazy. If he's healthy, I think he's the pick. Jack McCabe, I want Hall at 4C and Lazar as the fourth right winger. Bashing at the tar can be sent to Gunlin Red Star. Get a real fourth line left winger and a 3C. 2 bottom 6 additions. Nothing crazy. No first rounders spent. Well, we don't have a first rounder this year. We could potentially dangle our next year's first rounder, but I don't think we're going to be doing that for bottom 6 guys. Hatica will bring the boom more than Siegs. Watch. I think if he comes in, he's going to play well. But Jay Snow, where are you seeing that about after 4 Nations? I thought he was back. Stanley at Pollock, don't let the score fool you. Markstrom is the only reason they weren't run out of the building. The Devils have not been the same since that game. Jay Snow says Nemitz is better than Hatica. And then this is what I was saying before, as Woodson points out, Nemitz is right D and we need a left D. And Jay Snow says someone will play their offhand. Yeah. Okay. But now if you have a natural left D, instead of, forcing someone to play their offhand, I think it's more sensible to put in the left D, the natural left side defender, as opposed to forcing Nemitz and then forcing someone on their offside. But that very well may be what happens. Woodson says, be prepared for it to be anyone but Nemitz. Jack McCabe, I'm pretty sure Hatica is still technically on IR. Going to be Nemitz who gets the call, guaranteed. Stanley, Markstrom is our wild card. If he can continue his form, but it's asking a lot. Chemistry is going to be the key for Carolina. If they gel, I think they're coming out of the East. Jay Snow, if they put a rookie in Casey to play his offhand, why not Nemitz? Because I believe Casey has played both sides. I don't think it was a case of he's capable of. I believe it was a case of he has already done it before. To ask a guy to do that and someone correct me, I don't know that maybe Nemitz has played left side before, but I not to my knowledge. I don't know that he has. But that's a very, very big adjustment, especially for a guy who's been in the AHL for months. To throw him in there and put him on his offhand, I think is nuts. And if Nemitz does come up, I would bet a lot of money. If Nemitz is recalled, he's not going to be playing left side. They'll put someone else on the left side and let Nemitz play right. Ryan, does the Siegs injury and using an extra roster spot affect the cap for trades at the deadline? Read something that it might. Yeah, it's all complicated. I still can't find the exact rule. James Nichols pointed out in an article the other day that if the Devil, but by not putting Markstrom on LTIR, it allowed the Devils to accrue more cap space. So there's a lot of weird intricacies and things with the rules. Somehow he's claiming that the Devils accrue more cap space for the deadline by not putting Markstrom on LTIR. So I don't know. I think it might come to a point, though, where if like a guy like Siegenthaler is out for the year, you might, again, this is all fancy math. You might get more overall cap relief by putting him on LTIR versus not doing it to accrue the cap space. But again, this would take a capologist, which I don't claim to be whatsoever. Woodson, it may be White or Villain. I wouldn't be surprised. They might have no interest in bringing Nemitz up, and I'm sure he's going to be furious about it. But Jay Snow, Covey can play both sides. McCabe says trade for Ryan Suter. Woodson, we have zero depth. Put Nemitz with Covey. Stanley, I think cap comes into play if he goes on LTIR, but hopefully he avoided something major. They said he's going to miss time. So Jason, no, Siegs goes on LTIR. We can't accrue cap space. Woodson, don't let your best prospect play on his offside only for him to fail. I 1,000% agree with you there. And that's why I said I thought if Hatica is not injured, he would be the first guy called up to play on the left side to have a seamless kind of plug-in. But if Nemitz is the guy they call up, they're going to force someone else on the left. And maybe it would be Kovacevic. And for all the people, that want to move on from Kovacevic, that is another kind of wrinkle in his game, is that if he can play both sides, you don't have that luxury with a lot of defenders. Having a guy having a guy that can play both is valuable to have in situations like that. And especially you talk about the playoffs, where if something like that happens in the playoffs, you certainly don't want to be thrusting rookies and inexperienced guys on their offhand. And so having a veteran guy or a veteran kind of guy that could fill that role if necessary is a great thing to have. Jay Snow, if you put a player on LTIR, you don't keep gaining cap space. Val S., why not try Adam Beckman from Utica on the bottom six? At this point, I don't think the answers are in-house. Once upon a time, I wanted to believe that it could, but like no one really gets a long look. If they play a game or two, they send them back. You know, we saw it with Bauer, Nolan Foote. We saw Nathan Legary. We saw Hallinan, and it's like, you know, unfortunately, I don't think the true answer. I'm not opposed to seeing him play a game or so, for sure. But it just seems like, what is the likelihood? I think he'd be like the sixth guy from Utica recalled at some point if he's called up next on the season. And it's like, if the first, 5 guys weren't the answer, why would the sixth guy be? I just think it's time to bring in reinforcements from the outside. I just think we're at that point. Well, I could see White coming up for Siegs, but it'll be interesting to see how Musial would handle it. I forgot about Musial. He's another guy in the mix. Is he lefty? Yep, Musial's left, so he could be in the mix as well. Yeah, there's options. I just don't think the Nemitz thing is going to happen. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Yo, Holmes, NJ already elevated other defensemen than Nemitz this season. Mm-hmm. That was before he kind of said that stuff to the media. That might have an effect on it. I wish it wouldn't. But it is possible that, that whole situation will play a part in their decision. I think, letting things like that kind of happen is not great, but it's real life, and sometimes those things do come into account. Jack, yo, Holmes, they did, but they knew Colton White and D. Simone weren't going to play. If Nemitz gets called up, he's playing. Musial played in the 8-5 Tampa game, his only game. John Woodson, unless you can be trusted to play defense, you are not playing in the big leagues. Dimitri, what teams are realistically trade partners? San Jose, Calgary? There's tons. Nashville, just go look at everybody in the basement. All the teams in the basement are going to be selling at some point. Chicago, Nashville. There'll be guys available. There will be some guys available. Stanley, Jonas has been solid this year. They're going to feel this loss big time if he's possibly done for. Hopefully not that big of a loss. He has been playing much better this season. I will give him that. But we do have, several guys that could step in a situation like this, and hopefully the loss is not significant. I think the defense is way better built to withstand an injury like this than the forward group, obviously. Mark Costanza, outside of Nemitz and Casey, we don't have anyone that will make much difference. Got to go outside for a trade. Are you talking about for a defenseman, Mark? Now you're asking to trade for a defenseman? Man, if Fitz is not going to do a ton of deals, I'm hoping he doesn't waste one on a defenseman. I mean, because I do think we need 2 forwards. And there's a lot of guys out there. Alex, as frustrating as recent times have been for us, last year was so much worse. Remember when we blew the leads against Buffalo and Pittsburgh back-to-back while the teams ahead were dropping games? Oh, man, don't remind me, Alex. That's why I was so furious about the inactivity. The inactivity of last season, because I do believe had we gotten a goalie in February, they could have clawed their way into the playoffs. Maybe not, but it would have been a lot closer than it was, and I do think they would have had a chance. It was like towards the end, no one wanted that spot. Teams kept losing, and it was like a joke. It was like, does anyone want this final playoff spot? Everyone kept losing, and then eventually Washington got it. and they were a mercenary for the Rangers in that first round. Woodson, you could get a league minimum defender for a mid to late pick. Okay, and then if you trade, you're so caught up on the cupboard of picks. Is this league minimum defender going to be on the playoff lineup? Stanley 62495 95. Danico down with a nasty knee injury late in the season, forcing Lou to bring in Sean Chambers, who was key to the cup run. Mr. Fitzgerald trade's going to help your team. Just saying. I think it's going to happen. Just a matter of when. Hopefully, shortly after the Four Nations break. Jack McCabe-Burkell would be a good top 6 ad, but since it would be a good ad, it won't happen. Amagi, I was in the loss of that Pittsburgh game, and I had to drown my frustration with ice cream. Oh, guys. Hopefully the reinforcements come, though. I'm holding out hope. I know a lot of you are like, wanted the trade to happen just because other teams are making deals, and everyone was like, oh, where's our trade? But, like, give it some time. I think it's going to take some time, but I think something's going to happen. Stanley, last year was abysmal for sure. This year's squad is like 6 points better right now. Let that sink in. Yeah, it's discouraging given how much better the start was and where we were, at that holiday break, and then to have be the worst team in the league in January, and be where we are now is obviously disheartening. I mean, I never saw a slide. I thought a skid for the Devils might be like, NHL 500 in terms of points, like, something like, 5-5-2 or something over 12, something like that. I honestly thought would have been like the as ugly as it got, but it got ugly. And 2025 has been brutal to this team. Dimitri says we need some sandpaper and grit. Goals and skills could cost too much. I would like all the above, but in the end, I do think our bottom 6 needs to be heavier, edgier, more violent, and preferably a little beefier. I'd like some big, heavier, edgier, more violent guys for sure. Mark, it would be a dream to go out and get some monsters like Marcus Foligno and Matthew Olivier. Poof. You ain't kidding. Talk about dialing up the toughness. John Woodson, we will be less one defenseman next year. Either Kovacevic, Nemitz, or Siegs won't be on this team next year. And I fully agree with that. And I guess technically, even though I don't think it's favored to happen or likely to happen, I'd imagine Dougie Hamilton could potentially be in that group as well. Jason Vegas has been goalie 2 games in a row. Jack, Paul Cotter has hands like a masseuse. What pretty goals he scored in the shootout so far this year. Yeah, it's crazy. His finish is crazy, which is why I thought, he was deserving of a look in the top 6 at some point. We've seen very, very small glimpses of it. I'd like to see more, but we'll see how it all goes. Walt, got to run. Keep your chins up and lose the doom. Let's go Devils. Take care, Walt. Jason, Cotter just plays hard, goes into the corner no matter what. He's an animal. Yeah. Cotter is one of our few guys that literally gets angry and fired up. He plays with intensity all the time. He wants to win. He wants to do well, and you could tell. He's a fiery dude. He's burying guys every chance he gets. And we don't have enough guys like that, sadly. We really don't. Most of our other guys are nowhere near that level of physicality. And I would like a couple more guys like him, preferably even bigger. Cotter's not a huge guy. He just plays a heavy game. But I would love to see a couple guys that play like that with some more size added to the bottom 6. I've said that for years. That is what you need to win in the playoffs. You need heavier, edgier, more violent. You need guys that are going to go to the walls, go to the dirty areas, go to the corners. And it seems like at the moment we don't have nearly enough of them. It is what it is. And I'm hoping those are the types of pieces that Fitz looks at and obtains. And I'd be so curious to know what's going on behind closed doors. What's being said, what the team the scouts, the executives, what they have identified the need as. And to me, obviously, goal scoring would be great too. I mean, I think every team's like, we could use more goal scoring, but the bigger pressing need, I think, is just the physicality and the heart to win. We need guys that have that dog in them. We don't have a lot. Jay Snow, Cotter plays with that FU in his game for sure. Yo Holmes says Son Chambers had a wicked slappy from the point. Jay Snow, our core plays like they don't care. Some nights I agree. I think they do care, but they just don't play with the visible intensity that I like to see. And that's fine. It's not going to be for everyone, but we need to get some guys that do play like that. That's the reality. Jack, get Ryan Hartman. He's heavier, edgier, more violent. I'm all about any heavier, edgier, more violent guys. Jay Snow, Cotter and Timo aren't tall. They're just stocky. Yeah, but when you see Timo is a bull. I think he's like average height, I believe. Yeah, he's 6'1". 6'1", 220. That's a pretty good size for NHL these days. They got kids running around out here. They're look like they're $180 soaking wet. Jack, Kadri would be great too, but that would need retention. Yeah, a lot of the names people are throwing out there would require the other team retaining salary. We're going to be pretty tight against the cap. Brandon Thomas, I still can't believe we won a shootout. Yeah, it was a nail biter. Stanley, Chambers was nasty, dropping bombs on Detroit in that final. Whew. Mark, we need an old school checking line that can play a solid forecheck. Pando and Madden come to mind. Pando and Madden are two of the most underappreciated players in New Jersey Devils history. What a great duo those two made up. With whoever their center was, those guys could kill a penalty like no other, shut down other teams like no other. And those are two guys that I've said time and time again that belong in the Ring of Honor, in my opinion, easily. Two-time Cup champs, played a huge role on those teams and never really got the limelight or whatever because of all the other guys on the team. But quintessential team players, played a massive role in those Cup wins. And yeah, would love to have a modern version of that, but they don't make guys like that anymore. Few and far between. Jay Snow says, Timo is my hype. Brandon Thomas, I'm happy to see Jack doing one-timers. One-timers go in. Devils don't do them enough. You got to have time and space to pull them off, but I love seeing a nice one-timer go through the net. Jack looks like he weighs 160 pounds. I agree. And so are a lot of the other guys. They're tiny, man. The current hockey players are tiny. There's a few that you're like, oh, this guy's kind of big, but most of them, you're just like, whoa. Very different from the old school players. Very, very different. Jack, O'Reilly is so desirable because he has a good contract with term. He's going to cost a lot, but if they go on a few deep runs, and especially if they get a cup, who cares the cost? Win now. Could not agree with you more, Jack McCabe. I would be going hard for O'Reilly. Anything within reason, I'm doing. For sure. Jay Snow, Ace, if you push Jack with one hand, he would fall over if you met him. Yeah, I met him a couple times. He's not big at all. Hopefully he gets bigger, but yeah, he's a small guy. We need some beef. We need some beef puppets. SST said, I'd trade Yo Holmes for O'Reilly. Dimitri, the Florida Panthers playoff mode is seek, hit, and destroy. Absolutely. Jack McCabe says Jack and Luke must weigh 250 together. Mark, Breland, obviously a very important part of 3 Cup champions, but, and I would say he was underrated over the years as well. I do believe he got his, proper acknowledgement from the team, obviously, when he was put into the Ring of Honor. So I think that's kind of why I didn't mention him in the same breath of those other guys. But they're to me, they're like, Breland's the ultimate because obviously he's the 3-time Cup champ. But Pando and Madden are right below him in terms of guys that kind of flew under the radar, but played huge roles or very important roles on Cup championship teams. And Pando and Madden, man, what a duo. Yo Holmes says Jack and Luke need some T-bone steaks and barbell plates. Stanley, I think Madden got his flowers. Dude won a Selkie. Pando was overlooked for sure, though. But even in the end, what does a Selkie mean? Like, yeah, he got recognition from the league, I suppose. But I still don't think in terms of, like, Devils history that fans, I guess if you're a if you're a long time hardcore fan, you would know. But I feel like there's even been like kind of casual fans of the team for a long time that still don't fully recognize, what those guys really did for the franchise during the dynasty years. Jay Snow, yeah, Timo's our best one-timer threat. I think so. When he winds up in that right circle and someone gets in the puck, he just bombs away from Timo Meyer. Tim, but Quinn Hughes wants to join his brothers Jack and Luke and NJ. I think he does, and I think there's a good chance we probably sign him when he's a free agent. Yeah, Travis Walker, beef puppets for sure. Pandolfo and Madden were junkyard dogs. Absolutely. I loved them back in the day. Jack, John Mad Dog Madden was an animal, exactly the kind of guy they could use right now, for sure. Deadly on the on the penalty kill as well. He had a bunch of shorties in his time with us. Natural Canopy, what's up, brother? Big 2 tonight. Absolutely, man. Absolutely a big 2 tonight. Jason, no, hire Jack a smoking hot trainer to motivate him. Oh, boy. Jack, what's with the team falling over all the time? Must have been 10 times it happened tonight. Fix it, trainers. I don't know. I think they were saying there was a bad spot on the ice. But yeah, it seems like we fall a lot. I mean, what are you going to do? Natural Canopy just got back. It's my birthday. Finally got my button. Congrats. Congrats on the birthday. Hopefully your hand didn't burn too much during the ceremony. And congrats on the button. Mark, wonder what San Jose would want for Zetterlund. I like that dude. They're never going to trade him. He's going to be a big piece of their team going forward. Yo, Holmes, very different from the old school where grown men played in the NHL. It is of all the differences in the league, and I understand, they move towards the speed, finesse, and the high-end skill. I get all of that, but to see how just the physical makeup of the players changed from that time. So as it became more skilled and finesse, like the difference is staggering. Like I said, I've been talking to players, and meeting players for pretty much the whole time I've been a fan for 30 years. I've had hundreds of interactions with players over the years. And back then, the guys were all just, even like guys that you wouldn't think of as big, like they weren't amongst the bigger guys in the team compared to how the players today are built. It's night and day. Like, I don't know how many of you saw my interview with Jamie Langenbrunner, but Jamie Langenbrunner wasn't considered like a big player for his time in the league. And Jamie Langenbrunner in today's league would look like a monster. He's just a filled out man. And that's how all the players were back then. Then you had levels to it. You had absolute horses like Bobby Holik, and just tons of guys that were just big men. And now you see these guys, it's like, oh my God, it's the difference is jarring, like jarring. I remember when I first started seeing it years ago, and I was like, oh, this guy's kind of small, but then it's like, over time, it's not like one or two guys. It's like the whole team is more of this limber modern athlete. It's kind of crazy. It's mind blowing to me, honestly, because of how hockey is played. Like some of these guys, you see them and you're like, oh my God. You would think if you didn't know who the guy was and someone's like, this guy plays in the NHL, you'd be like, get the hell out of here. Stanley, that's true, Ace, but it has been a long time now. That said, if I started following a perpetual loser franchise that had a rich history, I'd read up on it. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. I'm a little behind here. Brandon, hopefully Jack gets good at finishing again. Doesn't look very good when our stars can never score in a shootout. I mean, it is what it is. Mark, athletes are twigs now. Look at the guys in the NBA. But I feel like I expect that a little bit. I mean, while basketball has some level of physicality, the physicality in basketball is nowhere near the level of the NHL. And so and there's always been scrawny guys in the NBA. It's a little more expected. But like I said, my whole life growing up, I'd meet these guys. And it wasn't just because I was younger and smaller than them. I just, even when I was, high school, college, and adulthood as a bigger person, you would still see these guys and like, these guys are monsters. But now you're like, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's a different world. It's a whole new world. Yo, Holmes, Madden also won a cup with Chicago. He won 3 cups. Dope. Yeah. Beast. Stanley, the league is different, fine, but this is still hockey. Average 1 hit every 11 games is just absurd. Could not agree more. I would tell every guy you have to register minimum 1 hit this game. If you don't, you're out of here. Husky and Chain, we had a lot of great undersized players on our team over the years. Gianta, Madden, Rafalski, Sullivan. Yeah, but if you saw those guys, even compared to the guys nowadays, they would look bigger. Like those guys were like solid. It's hard to explain, but if for a lot of people, I'm sure know exactly what I'm talking about. Like the modern NHL players look more like the build of like soccer or lacrosse players. Jack McCabe, I have a Madden game you stick from his cup winning Blackhawk season. Very nice. Dimitri, go Devils. Love the cast. Devils fans since 87 when Brian Burke led a Cinderella run. We need a Turner Stevenson. Good night. I think you mean Sean Burke. Would love a Turner Stevenson. Another throwback legend. Mark, if you ever collected game-worn jerseys, you could totally see the difference in size between the CCM Coho jerseys and the Adidas Fanatics jerseys. Yeah, I do collect game-worn jerseys, actually, Mark. I have a shitload of them spanning the years. And the CCM Coho jerseys are definitely a wider cut. The Adidas Fanatics era is definitely a little more tapered, for sure. And I noticed it when I've tried on a couple just to kind of see the cut, or just looking at Authentics. Definitely different. Definitely a noticeable difference. I should probably have. I haven't held a Fanatics on ice authentic jersey yet. The ones they just started this season, I have not seen in person yet, but I probably will soon. I'm very curious to see the differences and everything. I heard it's mostly the same as last year's Adidas jerseys, from what I've been told. There's a few cosmetic changes, but I think the cut and everything is going to be pretty much the same. Stanley, Lou sold on Steve Sullivan too early. That boy had wheels. I love Steve Sullivan. One of my favorites to watch at training camp when I was a kid. I always liked him. I thought he was going to be one of the next, hot shot kind of kids to come up in the organization. And he got cashed in. I was kind of bummed when he got traded. I think, was he traded in the Gilmore deal? I think he was traded in the Gilmore deal. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was traded to bring in Gilmore, another Hall of Famer who had a stint with the Devils, unfortunately, during some of those years in between the first and second cups, and was never on a winner with us. Stanley, Dimitri, Turner is one of my favorites. Love Turner. Love Turner. Natural Canopy, I know I say this a lot, but Yegorov in the small sample size of BC has looked insane. Absolutely. Absolutely has looked good in those games. I saw a lot of highlights, and I watched the whole Beanpot game against Harvard. He wasn't tested nearly as much, but he looks like he could be the real deal, and he's going to be one of the guys in the mix trying to take over the throne one day. Mark, let me know if you ever sell a Cam Jansen from 05 or 06. Not that it's for sale, but hold up. I might have something handy. Wait, maybe not. I thought I might have an interesting show and tell piece. It might, when I take my bathroom break. When I do my bathroom break, I'm gonna look. Maybe I have something exciting to show you, Mark. Yeah, I'll take my bathroom break probably in a couple minutes. Chris, the USA jerseys that can be purchased are the ones of the 3 captains plus Adam Fox. Is kind of dumb since the whole gimmick is a big cash grab to begin with. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the botched rollouts. The botched rollouts of merchandise. Obviously, we all saw it last year with the Stadium Series. My mind went blank. The Stadium Series was a disgrace. They rolled them out a week before the game or 2, whatever it was. It was way, way too late in the game. They had nowhere near enough, and it was just a complete cluster. You know what? And it happened again with the 4 Nations. I thought for something that was a cash grab, they would have done it right. I mean, I don't know how in the world, when you knew about this tournament for so long, how the jerseys weren't ready to go for Black Friday, baby. Black Friday should be the hard cut, the hard deadline. That it should have been ready for Black Friday or earlier, but I would accept Black Friday at the latest because I know tons of people and their kids who would have had 4 Nations jerseys, hoodies, hats, all the merchandise, all the bullshit. It would have been on their wish list for Christmas. They would have sold 1 million units, and they just released all the 4 Nations shit on Fanatics a couple days ago. I'll have some goodies coming in that I'll share with you guys. Some goodies that I'll do a video on. Because I needed some gear, obviously. I'm a merchandise, you know what. But yeah, crazy that Jack wasn't one of the ones. I thought Jack had one of the highest selling jerseys the past couple of years. So you thought, or at least you would think that it would be an option for them to do the 4 Nations jersey in that. You could, so I think that was at the cheaper version of the jersey was like $240, I believe, $240 for the guys that were pre-customized. You did have the option of customizing the authentic, which I believe would come in at like $500 or so. If you got the authentic on ice jersey that the players wear with Jack Hughes on it, would be $500, I think. Kind of wild. Natural Canopy Ace. Any chance you do a pregame for the Bean Pot? It's on NHL Network Friday, 7:30 BC versus BU. Maybe. It's a maybe. Let me look at my thing. In support of Yegorov, it's possible. I don't think people really care about that. Jack McCabe, Ace, any game-worn Cup Finals jerseys? Oh, come on, Jack. Any game-worn Cup Finals jerseys? Of course I have game-worn Cup Finals jerseys, Jack. And several of them. Some of my favorites. Dimitri, Ace, forgot to ask you, the smallest town to win the Stanley Cup of all time. No using your technology. I have no idea. Is it where Gomer's from in Alaska? I forget the name of the town. It's probably either that or some like small fishing town in Canada, I would imagine. What is it? I have no idea, Dimitri. Husky Unchained went to school with Sullivan when he came to play with the Greyhounds. Nice. Very nice. Mark, Arnott is my favorite Devil. Used to have 2 of his gamers. Been waiting for another to come around. I have one on the block, Mark. Email me. I'll put my email here. I have an Arnott up for grabs while it lasts. Brandon Thomas, I feel like a lot of people don't understand even throwing one hit doesn't a game. Remember, everyone is like 30 years old. One awkward hit in the boards, they probably pulled a muscle or something. I'm not buying it. You could throw a hit. I don't want to hear it. Yo, home. Stevie Sullivan was shot out of a cannon. Blistering speed on that guy, and he was tough as nails too. Husky Unchained, Arnott is the man. Absolutely. Obviously, one of the most heroic players in Devils history. Arnott was a gem. Best trade Lou ever made was shipping dollar Bill Guerin's ass out of here. Yes, still holding a grudge from 97. I love Billy G. I absolutely love Billy G. Alex, you're going to do post-game live streams for 4 Nations. So, Mark, yes. The answer to your question is yes, Mark. Don't put any more about that. I don't want these. When worlds collide, Mark. For some of the games I'm going to, but I'm not going to be able to do it for the game I'm going to. I'll be in Boston for the second batch of the games, and I already have a lot of plans while I'm up there and shit that I want to do and film and whatever. And so I will definitely do it for the games I'm home for, which I think is the first. Let me see the schedule. So I think I'm going to be away for some of the games in Montreal as well. Yeah, so Wednesday the 12th is Canada versus Sweden. I'll probably be able to do that. Thursday the 13th, we got USA Finland. Yeah. So yeah, those two games I'm definitely going to be able to do. That might be it until the championship game, because I'm going to be away for the other ones. Wait, these dates are messing me up. What's your favorite cup-worn jersey? Hard to pick. Probably my Claude Lemieux home 2000. I have a Claude Lemieux white 2000 Stanley Cup Finals. That's got to be up there for sure. And I have some 03 ones that I really like as well. SST Gritsuk unofficially wants to try NHL next season. It's been reported about 1 month ago by the Russian hockey media. Like I said, I've been saying it time and again. I'll believe it when the guy's here. Let's see what he has. But, you know, these KHL guys, you never know what you're going to get. Husky Unchained, had to get knockoff Stadium Series jerseys from eBay because they're botched release. It has regular size crested numbers. It's honestly really nice. I'm a jersey snob, Husky, so unfortunately, you know, I'm gonna, whatever makes you happy, I'm gonna say with that stuff. But I'm definitely a jersey snob. Natural Canopy PSA: the rum buckets from Applebee's are completely overpowered. Overpowered with like juice and crap, or like overpowered as in like it's strong liquor. I can't believe it'd be that. Jack, favorite Devils goon enforcer of all time. It's got to be number 8, Mike Peluso. Number 8, Mike Peluso for sure. Stanley, you're not official unless you have an 03 Pascal Riom gamer. I don't have an 03 Pascal Riom, but I do have some obscure guys. I guess some of them are obscure. Dimitri, Kenora Thistles, my hometown, population 5,000. Oh, defeated. I thought you meant a player on a cup team. Defeated the Montreal Wanderers. Art Ross was the only ringer. A beer bet you'll win all day. Very nice. Yo, Holmes, what was the radio trivia question that Billy G was the answer to? Stanley, Cam will always be a favorite for me, just a fun player, but the Polish Hammer Oliwa was great, and back in the day, Troy Crowder and Mac can throw the mitts. Oliwa, high up there on my list as well. There's been a lot of guys that I've liked, but Oliwa and Peluso are definitely two memorable names for sure. Stanley writes McKay, but I wouldn't consider McKay in that group. While he fought, he did more than that. His primary role was not a fighter, so I don't put Randy McKay in that group. But tough as nails, obviously. Natural Canopy, looking at the standings, Eastern Conference versus the West, it's clear who's coming out of the West. Ace, what team out of the West would be your desired matchup in a cup final? I selfishly look at it in terms of just travel and places I would want to go to a game. And so Vegas would obviously be a great one. And I think Dallas would be fun as well. And it would be something really cool to see a Devils-Dallas rematch in the finals 25 years after that 2000 series. Mark, yeah, the pro players are awesome. The 2000 pro players, you don't see them too often. Natural Canopy, no, I'm hammered off Morgan. A group of us went out tonight local just since it's Tuesday. Might as well have gone to the city. Evan, the Four Nations break is big for this team. Just keep on winning and we'll be fine for playoffs. Yeah, but, you know, other teams are winning too at a much higher clip than the Devils have been. And if they do not figure out how to really keep banking points, there's teams pulling up right behind us. Stanley, Ace, do you wear your jerseys to buy cold cuts at the delis like the Rangers do here in New York? No. I actually don't think I ever wear my jersey really. No, I don't really wear jerseys like out in public. I wear hoodies and shit, but I'm not like wearing my jersey for the most part. I guess that is more common in the city. But no, I don't really wear jerseys ever other than to a game. Yo, Holmes, only American to win a cup with NJ in Pittsburgh. Nice. Mark, I had Oliwa's first Devils jersey, pre-Eliash number 26. Also had a Peluso, I think, from 95 or 96. Nameplate removed and restored, but was 100% photo matched. I'm pretty sure I've seen that one. The Peluso was a red one, right, Mark? I don't think I've ever heard about the Oliwa. But the Peluso, I think I know exactly which one that is. Stanley, trivia, only player to pound his way off a team and trash a hotel in Japan, Bill Guerin. Man, some of you guys are... Brandon, I think why the Devils had so much doomers is because the Devils dynasty, we probably had one of the best teams ever put together in NHL history. We were so spoiled. We had such a respected team. Yeah, it'll never be the same, but I just want to see the team win another cup. I mean, like I always tell people, like, you know, we had 3 first ballot Hall of Famers, all-time greats. The great Martin Brodeur, Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermayer. Like, Marty's pretty much on anyone's list, even haters. Marty's going to be no less than number 3 of all time, okay? And then on any respectable list, I believe both of the Scotts, Scott Stevens and Scott Niedermayer, would be on top 15s of all time and possibly higher. Yo, Holmes, only other NJ player to win a cup with both NJ and Pittsburgh is Peter Sikora. Love me some Sikora as well. Jay Snow, I don't know what's going to wake this team up. I can't see them going on any type of heater. They can't play 60 minutes of good hockey consistently. At the moment, that's true. But again, I hate to keep saying this, but without our best overall player our best overall player, nicohischier, without our insane goalie, Jacob Markstrom, and we're just trying to just stumble our way to the Four Nations break to hopefully heal up and come out of the gate on fire after the break. Jason, no, it's because this team has been garbage for so many years now. One playoff series, big deal. I get it, man. I get it. I'm tormented. I lived through the glory years. Natural Canopy, if you haven't already, hit that like button for our boy Ace. Thanks a lot, Natural Canopy. Really appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Don't be stingy. Husky Unchained, I've got a Sikora jersey from 2000. It's super thick and heavy. Yeah, the pro players were sick. Stanley, you may have missed the sarcasm with the jersey comment. Nothing like seeing someone in a piss yellow Messier jersey buying a half pound of ham in the middle of July. Mutants. Olivier with another knockdown. Oof. Who did Olivier knock out? Mark, I think I got the Oliwa from someone in Scandinavia along with a George Laraque white blue Oilers number 34 first ever NHL fight. Very nice. I have an Oliwa with a crazy rip repair. Like the whole back is ripped and it was stitched up. It's like a big Z. High kudos. Shootout win hype. Absolutely. Jack McCabe. Samuelson on Buffalo was out tonight with a lower body injury. Lindy probably held him out because of his lack of sack against Nason on the Thompson hit the other day. Oh, man. Yeah, if I was a Bruins, if I was a Sabres fan, I would have been furious. Jason, no, there was nothing like having a guy like Scott Stevens on your team. No, absolutely. It's crazy. They don't make them like that anymore. They've gone the way of the dinosaur. Extinction. Mark, enforcer gamers are insanely expensive. Got to be a hedge fund manager or own a construction company to be able to collect them. Yeah, that's kind of jerseys in general. I'm fortunate that I got into it super early. I mean, it was never cheap, but it's just gotten more crazy over time. And luckily, I got into it a long time ago and was able to obtain a lot of stuff that I had wanted. That, if I had to redo it all starting from this point in time, would for some of it would be impossible actually, because you just couldn't find it. And B, if you were able to find it, it would be substantially more money in this, time. So I am very thankful that I was kind of, I guess, early, if you will, on that whole hobby. But wow. Jason, no, we sucked when we had our goalie in NICO. Yeah, but I'm hoping, we were also awesome with them before that Christmas break. I need to see them back out there. Sergeant Buckcake, great game by DAWS. Yes, it was. It's a great game by DAWS. Brandon, what's your next 2 game predictions and your prediction on how the team will play after the break, and what's your biggest worry after the break? Next 2 game predictions. I mean, listen, I want them to win them both. I'm going to say they win them both somehow. I'm going to say they win them both. Coming back home where we've been playing pretty good, and then at Montreal again, I'm hoping for a win in both. I'm going to say we beat them both. Jack, who is the second best captain in Devils history? I'm going to say quick answer. I mean, what are you basing that on? I'm going to have to go. Probably Jamie Langenbrunner, I think, would be the second best, I think, in my time. Mark, saw a Canucks Brashear that I bought for $750 4 years ago sell for $2,500. Oh, yeah. That's exactly the types of stuff I'm talking about. Certain stuff is nearly untouchable now. I regret not buying more. I mean, I was trying to, within reason. Obviously, even like I said, even years ago, it was never cheap, but it was certainly much cheaper than it is now. But it was always expensive, and now it's just wildly expensive. And like I said, I'm thankful I grabbed the stuff I did, but there's so much looking back on that. I'm like, oh my God, like, it was worth buying almost anything, really. Luke, just got back from hockey. Dawes, Hughes, Brett. There wasn't much else tonight. Any chance Boozeface will make a trade tomorrow? I don't think so. I do not think so. I think the trade is coming, or trades, I should say, is coming after the after 4 Nations. Vegas, Allen, or Dawes? I was thinking about that. I think it's a tricky situation. If it was me, I would give Dawes a chance to steal the tandem job right now, but I don't think the team's remotely going to do that. Because here's the thing, like, Dawes played good tonight, won the game for us in the shootout. If you put him out there Thursday night and he beats the Golden Knights, right? Then at that point, had you not go back to him again on Saturday in Montreal. And so I think it's kind of a sticky situation. I would go DAWS, but I don't think the team will do it. And I think you'll likely see Allen in the next 2. Natural Canopy, the Bees bartender said she saw Fitzy in there on a stool a lot recently. Luke, Vegas has just lost 2 in a row. Jack McCabe, would a McDermott gamer cost more than $10K? No, it's not that crazy. McDermott jerseys this year, I think, are $695 game worn. $695. Luke, I agree with Langenbrenner. Driver was nice just because of the handoff to Stevens. Mark, Langs was a great captain. I kind of hate how he was unceremoniously shipped off to Dallas. Yeah, I think stuff got a little funky with him and the team, and it just, it was kind of just like, felt like an afterthought. I don't know. Stanley says, safe to say he wasn't pondering any trades, talking about Fitz. Luke, I feel like they played DAWS tonight to save Allen versus Vegas, but plus not to let the kid get killed versus Vegas. I mean, listen, DAWS was solid tonight. Very, very solid. Natural Canopy, laughed my ass off. Not at all, Stan. He was contemplating where he was. Mark says $695 for McDermott is correct. I'm on the list for his home 3rd set. You want the home 3rd, huh? I try to stick to it, and I've broken the rule for some guys. I try to stick to only 1 game worn of each guy, just because there's so many guys and styles and different things I want over the years, and so I try not to be redundant. So I think I have my one and only Curtis McDermott game worn is already in my collection, and you know which one it is. That beautiful white jersey from the scrap with Rempe at center ice during the line brawl. That Curtis McDermott jersey is in the vault, and that'll be the only one. Only one of each guy. I have broken the rule for legends, and there's some legends that I have more than one of. But for the most part, I only try to get one of each. Stanley, $10K for a Mac jersey would be absolutely mental. His own parents wouldn't pay that much. Jack, what's your favorite piece of game-used memorabilia? I have a lot, but these leg pads here, the Heat and Helite 4s, they're very high on the list. To me, that's let me hide this. Let me hide this so you can see it better. The quintessential Marty Brodeur pad. He had a lot of cool setups over the years between pads, glove, blocker. But when I think of Marty, I will forever picture him in the Heat and Helite 4 setup. Just love that pattern. So that's definitely up there. I have a ton of other stuff I like too. I mean, I have some really like higher end kind of rare stuff. But those pads are definitely up there. All my Marty stuff, I have I have quite a bit. I'm not going to lie. I've been an obsessive collector for a long time, and I got into it at a time where it was not as crazy as it is now. So I was, as a result, I was able to get some cool stuff. Brandon, I know we don't have much games left, much games at DAWS, but do you feel comfortable with DAWS to be a starter after Markstrom leaves? In my opinion, it's way too early for me to say that. And again, that's not coming till not next season, the season after at the earliest. It could be even further away than that, because if Markstrom looks good next year, I could see him getting re-signed for another year. So it could be a few years away. I think he's definitely going to be in the mix. But again, I think Poulter and Yegorov are going to have an impact in that as well. And so it's hard for me to say. I think if you ask the Devils executives at the moment right now, they would say they think it would be DAWS. But Poulter and Yegorov are definitely going to be in the mix. Natural Canopy, McHale should be ready by the time Markey's done. Luke, Brandon Thomas, I don't know about DAWS as a starter. I'd like to see him get the backup spot next year. I think he's the current front runner, but again, Poulter, Yegorov, somebody else might, force the organization's hand. Cyril, at Brandon Thomas, we're just hoping that someone from within develops into a starter, but if not, a move will be necessary. Mark, I was lucky to pick up the last Olivier Maigret had for $4.95. Beat the crap out of the Blues Tucker in it. Nice. Stanley, Dawes is decent. He's a little slow post to post, gets burned on wraparound a lot. So those pads 97, 98, or 99 would be pretty cool if that's his kit from the 0-0 shutout with Hasek. Are you talking about the playoff game? No. I have to double check. I forget if they're, I want to say they're 97, 98, I think. I have to go check I have a detailed sheet with all the info. I want to say they're 97, 98, but they might be 98, 99. I was going to do a video about them. I don't know if people would care about that, but I thought about it. Brandon, I think we need more games with our AHL goalies to see where they're at. I mean, but that's a future problem. I honestly don't care right now. That's a problem for another day. But I do think, between the third period of the Sabres game and the whole game today, we saw that, DAWS is capable of playing in the league. Now, could he do it consistently? That's a whole nother story. But I do think in small sample sets, at the worst case, DAWS is capable of winning NHL games for you, and you saw that tonight. Luke says, thinks Siegenthaler might be done. Natural Canopy, Siegs had no weight on that leg. If he's done for a formidable amount, who do you call up? We talked about this earlier. I would call up Santeri Hatakka because he's a natural left-handed D. If Hatakka is still not hurt, that's very unclear right now as well. A lot of people calling for Nemitz, but Nemitz is a righty, and so doing that, you would have to disturb the pairings and force someone to play their offside and play them from the right and put them on the left. I don't love doing that personally, and if you have the option to avoid it, I would. It'll be interesting to see how the organization plays it, but we'll see. I think the dual shutout was 97. It's possible you have that set. I'd have to do some research. I thought you were talking about that playoff game, which was way earlier. That was the 94 playoffs. But now I'm trying to see what the December 24th, 96, that'd be... '96, '97. So the game you're referencing is December 23rd, 1996. So that's the 96, 97 team. Luke, Siegs is done. If Siegs is done, it's over 6 million cap space. Let's go boost space. Get a 3C and 4C or a scoring winger. Mark, would be nice to get another pest on the team. Zach LaRue from Nashville comes to mind, or even Brandon Gallagher from Montreal. Stanley, yes, we need some more assholes on this team, preferably with some skill playoffs or a nasty game. I want it bad. John, I go to BU, so happy they got McHale and I'm able to see him play. Were you what do they call that section, John? The dog pound? Were you sitting behind the net when he skated over and did the jump? Were you there? Please tell me you go to the games and you're an active participant. I wish my college had hockey. I would have loved to have been at college hockey in an atmosphere like that. It must be so sick. Mark, Hadika looked pretty good in his time up here. Nothing flashy, but he plays responsibly. And I think that's exactly what the team is going to be looking for. We just want someone who's going to come in, play a nice, simple game, keep it nice and basic, don't do anything too crazy, and try not to stick out. Natural Canopy, I'd absolutely love Tyler Bertuzzi. I think he makes too much money. Natural Canopy, hell yeah, John, that kid is the real deal. Book it. He looks good. Brandon, Ace, to use Grok on X for your research, I get answers so much easier and way faster. I don't even use Google anymore. I ask the AI. I thought that was a paid feature. I hate X, personally. I've always hated Twitter, and I hate X. But is Grok free now? Wasn't it paid at first? Luke, I'd love to get Riley and Novak from Nashville. They're putrid, one with retention. First, seconds, and that Russian kid Fitzmagic drafted last year. You're talking about Salayev? Bertuzzi's on the Hawks, I think. I believe so, yeah. Just his numbers aren't great, and he's playing first-line minutes, and he makes a lot of money. So in a vacuum, I like him. He was on one of my lists at some point last season when we were talking way ahead about free agency. But I just think he makes too much. I think you could have better usage of the money. Do you have a 29 Brodeur jersey? I do not. John, yeah, I was at the game. It was the Dog Pound. They killed Harvard last night in the Beanpot tournament. I saw the game last night on ESPN. He wasn't that tested. He had some good saves, but after Harvard took that 1-0 lead, then BU just smashed him. Did you go to that game, John? Did you go to the Beanpot? Luke, Hadika said he was ready, but they said conditioning stint. Wonder if that changes. It very well could. Mark, a game-worn 29 Brodeur would be insanely expensive. I've never seen one. I have seen one, and I want to say it was nearly six figures, I think, if not six figures, for a Marty 29. John, the student section calls him Mikey for the chance. That's very cool. Hate 2, baby. Yeah, I think Yagerov is going to be the real deal. That's pretty awesome, John, that you're a current student and you could see him play a lot. And basically, it seems like he's going to be the starter going forward, right? He basically stole the other guy's job. Was it Garan? He basically just was like, I'm here now, my net. Sir, I wouldn't have guessed it was even five figures, let alone six. Oh, yeah, yeah. For people that don't know, I would say baseline nowadays, the cheapest Marty jersey you could find, which I imagine would be a game-worn jersey, would be a later career one. And I would say it's probably it would probably be like a 2012, 13 or 13, 14, maybe even an 11, 12. One of his last few seasons would be one of the least desirable ones. And I think the basement on those these days is probably about 10K now. Probably 10 G's for the cheapest entry level Marty Brodeur game worn. And then obviously some of the older ones will have a premium on top of that. And then obviously anything with significance, it just kind of escalates and it could get out of control in a hurry. John, yeah, Karam was terrible. Oh man, so it's gonna be the Yagerov show going forward, huh? Where's the Frozen Four is in Missouri. That'd be sick if Yagerov brought a national title for BU. Luke, good stuff, Ace. Have a good gentleman. Let's go Devils. Good night, Luke. Mark, Brodeur gamers regularly go for like 10K. Yeah. And that's one of my biggest regrets is not getting more Marty jerseys. I mean, they were never cheap, but they weren't that. And they were never plentiful either. I mean, they popped up here and there. There was chances to obtain them. But those have also since mostly dried up, and have become rare like everything else over time. John, I'm spoiled. Got to see Celebrini last year and now this. It's great. Yeah, it's amazing, man. What a time to be a BU student, especially if you like hockey. They got some other good kids. You got the Hudson kids on BU now. Hudson's going to be a good player in the NHL, I'm sure. Yzerman. I mean, yeah, you guys got some guys. Wild. Are tickets free, John? How does tickets work for BU hockey for students? I'm so curious. Mark, the Ovechkin prices are going to be insane here in a bit. I think $18K is the going price right now. I think it's more than that. But the reality is, I don't think they're going to go up a ton anytime soon because everyone knows he's about to break the record. So that's already kind of baked into the price. Like, it's not like, oh, is he going to do it? We don't know. It's not really speculative. It's more of a matter of time when it's going to happen. And so I don't think it's going to take a crazy jump up soon. I think, over time, like all the other premier players of the league, I think they will continue to go up. But the other thing to keep in mind is that Ovechkin played the majority of his career in what I call the manufactured game-worn jersey era when, they were known commodities. And, back in the day, they were sold, but it wasn't a business like it is now. So there was a lot fewer jerseys worn. Ovechkin, he's probably wearing like a new jersey every game, maybe even multiple per game when he's going on this goal streak. Like he's just worn an insane amount of jerseys in the past few seasons, especially. And so, obviously he's an all-time great, but I do think something that will hinder the prices from getting so crazy is just the sheer supply. I don't think there's any other player, and I guess to some extent maybe Sid will be close when it's all said and done, but there's way more supply of the current guys like that than some of the guys like Marty and older legends that just didn't wear nearly the amount of jerseys that they wear now. Brandon, I agree. Ovechkin stuff will go up in price soon. If you're a student, there's a $130 price included in tuition that gets you into all BU sports games year round if you go to 8 home games. So you just have to go to 8 home games for what? Each sport or total? And also, does that get you into BU games that aren't at your own arena? Like, for example, I know that the Bean Pot is at TD Garden. So were you able to get into the Garden for free too? You get a free jersey? Dude, that's phenomenal. I don't want to know what BU undergrad now is. I have a guess in my head. I'm going to look it up right now. Oh my God. It's worse than I thought. Dude, how are kids ever supposed? I feel so bad. How are kids ever going to make it? This is psychotic. Oh my God. Grotesque. Can you guys see me? I don't know what the hell happened to my screen. Yeah, some players wear a new shirt every period. I know Steiner flooded the market with Rangers gamers. Yeah, and the modern guys, there's a lot of them that the way they pump these jerseys out, obviously star players are always going to have some level of value. But when guys are wearing, what used to be maybe across both colors, 6 to 8 jerseys, now there's guys probably wearing 30-ish jerseys, 25, 30 jerseys a season for their whole career. I mean, when it comes down to the end of a career, that's a lot of jerseys for the market to absorb at very high prices. And so I do think it'll help keep some of them down somewhat just because of the sheer supply. Like, how many people are ready right now to pull 20K trigger on a Alexander Ovechkin jersey? I'm sure there's plenty, but it's not like there's a line around the block for it. It's a high-end item. John, it's terrible. Went to community college for 2 years, otherwise could not afford it. That's a smart play. Do you live in Massachusetts, John? So does the Bean Pot not count as a home game? It's got to be at Agnes Arena. So you get into there for free. Do they at least give you a hookup to purchase tickets for the Bean Pot at a discount, or at least be able to buy them before the public? Do you get some sort of perk? So many questions. Jay Snow, how the hell is how it's getting late, guys. I got it. How the hell has Detroit won 7 straight? Patty just buried a gorgeous shootout goal. Patty Kane, man, living legend, an American boy. Another guy I was hoping we'd be able to get at some point. I don't think he fits this roster now. Just again, smaller. I would still want him if it was still available. I'd still take him. I'm a sucker for legends playing for the Devils, but he's a beast, man. He's gonna be another one. Probably go down as, if not the greatest American player of all time, one of them. Asbury Park. Wait, so do you live in a dorm or you live off campus? What's the deal with that? You riding the T around? You taking that T all around the town? Mark, most of the teams sell their own gamers and ask stupid prices. The worst are Vegas and the Kings. VGK wants $500 for a game used preseason Cotter. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. The authentic jerseys now I think are $450. So when you really look at it, if you're getting a guy, even a total scrub, right? Let's just say, not saying Cotter is, but even a total scrub, if you could get a game worn for $500 or $600, you're barely paying more than what the garment costs, which is crazy. But an authentic, let me just double check that. Is it $500 now? That keeps going up every year too. So to me, it makes entry level, the increase in the pricing, it makes entry level game worn jerseys that much better of a deal, in my opinion. I think they're $500. I haven't looked in forever. I hate Fanatics website. There's just so much stuff on here. Yeah, so so it's $499.99. The on ice authentic jersey now with the player on it is $500. So think about that. $500 is the cost of the jersey itself. So if you could get a game worn of a guy for $500, I don't even know. Is there still $500 guys these days? There probably is, I would imagine. Is there any more $495ers out there in today's world? I haven't been keeping up so much on current stuff. My computer's running slow as shit. All these things running at once. Takes a beating on the computer. All right, so it seems like the cheapest Devils now are $595. But we're talking about $95 more than what it would cost you to buy the authentic yourself. It's crazy. I mean, $500 is crazy too, but wow. Yeesh. Discounted tickets for Hockey East playoff games. Very nice. Yeah, college hockey's sick. I went to a BU game years and years ago. And I also went to a UMass game years ago as well. How's the trim there? Mark, I can see what you're saying. I imagine most people buying gamers from the pro shops aren't collectors, but just fans who want a gamer to frame. Are you talking about like a game worn or an authentic, like, on ice jersey? Ryan, I'd say he's probably the best American player of all time. I also love Mike Modano. I mean, Mike Modano was right there. Would be on the list as well. Brett Hall's obviously in the conversation. I guess Phil Housley. Austin Matthews will have a chance to put his name in the ring. But Madonna definitely up there. Patty Kane. Blackatron. Holy hell, you animals are still at it. Love the passion we got after a big win. Let's go Devils. Now we're just talking about all kinds of random stuff. Olivier, okay, Hadika from last year. Nason Devils. No, I'm saying I was just looking at this year. Yeah, so this year the cheapest is $5.95. Yeah, you could get other years for $4.95. Which again, I mean, that's the cost of the freaking jersey. Stanley, $500 Pro Today tracks. I remember the late 90s CCM Authentics would play about 300 or so. Yeah. I remember like the first ones I remember were close to 300 too. One of the only things I guess that hasn't escalated. Now I wish tickets only not even doubled up, right? Tickets have 4 and 5x from what they used to be. Yeah, we're a long time removed from the 1980s when you could get a $15. This doesn't autofocus. I forgot. $15. I got another ticket in front of me here. $20 face value, upper level in 0506. $20. Yeah, I was talking forwards, but Chelio's definitely up there as well. Shout out to Jeremy Roenick finally getting the call for the Hall of Fame, huh? About time. About time they gave that man his due. All right. Damn, I've been on here forever. It's late. All right, I'm going to take a bathroom break and we're going to shut it down. Thank you all for coming out. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Throw out your closing comments, thoughts, questions, whatever. Your New Jersey Devils with a big one. A big 3-2 victory, backstop by NICO DAWS. You absolutely love to see it. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Throw out your closing questions, comments, whatever else. And I'll be back and we'll start shutting her down. Be back in 2 minutes. All right, back. Hate to say it, but Brian Leach, oof, I couldn't put him on my list. I mean, you know, he's obviously on the list. He's not my top 5. Maybe he's on the top 10. I'd have to really look at it. He's definitely in the top 20, I'd imagine, but I'd have to really look at the list to see where he would fall on mine. Husky on chain. Casey's supposed to be back from injury at the beginning of this month. He's been skating with the team for the past few weeks in a no-contact jersey. Upper body injury. Ryan Johnson's a shootout win feel tacky. Anyone else just feels like a team game shouldn't be decided via a silly skills competition. Yeah, I think they should get rid of it, but I will take this win with a smile tonight for sure. Stanley, tickets are wild today. Even if you're well off, prices are up there. Crazy to think they used to have trouble filling the building. Yeah, and they still do. But it's obviously way more expensive now than it was back in the day. I went to a ton of games in my youth when they were super cheap. I mean, it was I always thought it was a great value. I always did what I could to get money as a youngster and always spent it on Devils games and Devils related shit. So I certainly am glad that I was a kid when I was and, young adult for the Devils dynasty years. And that coincided with a time when you didn't have to be well off to go to games. Evan, I'm happy with any win. I'd like to overtime to determine every game in the future. Yeah, or bring back ties maybe. Stanley, shootouts don't belong in the game, and 3-on-3 is a farce as well. Hockey had ties for 100 years, and it was fine. The most popular sport in America even has ties, but the NHL is above it. Yeah, I think it was a kind of an overcorrection when they were trying to, drive up excitement, I suppose, for casual fans. And then the other thing is with the loser point, I've talked about this a lot before. The loser point keeps bad teams kind of in the mix for longer because now, if there wasn't a loser point, right? Let's just look at this year's teams. Yeah, the Pittsburgh Penguins have 9 overtime losses, overtime or shootout, and they have 53 points. They're slipping further and further out of the wild card, right? If they say they didn't get 5 of those points, they would have 4 points less, and they'd be basically dead right now. And so what that means is when you have a team dead this early, and they may have been dead in January even, obviously it is going to be harder to sell tickets to fill your building. People are not going to be watching. There's a lot, people become disinterested, and that's not good for their bottom dollar, their bottom line with the money for tickets and TV deals and TV ratings, and everything's a business. And so having that loser point in 3-point games where a team can get 2 and one team gets 1, it keeps these bottom teams around and in the race to make the playoffs much longer than it would have in the past. London, are you going to watch Four Nations Face-Off? Yes. I'll be watching all the games. I'll be attending at least one of them. I might be attending 2 of them live. And I will have some interesting Four Nations content, videos and such, I believe. Chris, if they get rid of the shootout, how would ties be settled? Like 4-on-4, 5 minutes, and then 3-on-3, 5 minutes? I mean, there's a variety of ways they could do it. Or you could just do 3-on-3 for 10 minutes. I mean, 3-on-3 for 10 minutes would end probably 98% of the time. And if it doesn't finish after that, then have a tie. Ryan, I live in Toronto region. Love the Devils for 28 years. I remember seeing tickets being advertised in Jersey for like $20 and they'd give you a hot dog. Yeah, the good old days, man. The good old days. And hot dogs, if you had to buy them, were probably only $4 or $5. Now they're like 10, 12. Stanley, how exciting is a penalty shot in a game? It's awesome, and that's a difference versus the manufactured shootout. Of course, it's super rare in a game, and when it happens, everyone gets out of their seat. It's probably the single most dramatic thing in a regular season hockey game for sure. Husky tells Ryan, Devils fan from Ontario as well. Canada in the house. One second. I'm going full patriotic for nations. Yeah, I'm super pumped. I have some USA gear coming. I'll be wearing that to the games. I'll be wearing it watching the games, and Team USA has a great chance to win this thing. And it's a nice little precursor to next year's Olympics, where hopefully the American squad can bring us back a gold medal. That would be so sick. So sick. Yeah, dollar hot dog night. How you do? I would love dollar hot dog night again. I don't know if they'll ever do it again. I remember they did it years ago. Cody Skills, thoughts on NICO DAWS? Do we let it ride for the next 2 or Allen? We talked about this before. If it was up to me, I would play Allen, but I don't think they will because it's just a very slippery situation. I think they're just trying to give Allen rest a little bit. He had off that third period of the Sabres game. He had off tonight, and I fully expect them to play Allen in the next two. But if I'm being honest, I would probably play Nico DAWS in the next one. And if he won, I would probably put him back in for Montreal. But I don't think they're trying to have any sort of controversy or any sort of stuff like that going on. I think they just are going to keep it simple and go Allen the next two. Or at least, if Allen plays okay in that Thursday game. Now, I could see a world where Allen plays against Vegas if we somehow lose or he looks bad, that them going back to DAWS maybe for the Montreal game. It's a possibility. Husky, best Devils players were old school Canadians, and our country wears Devils colors. We've had some great Canadians over the years. The great Martin Brodeur, Scott Stevens, Scott Niedermayer, Claude Lemieux, Stéphane Richer. Tons. Trying to think who else. It's a good amount. Ryan Johnson, how does Logan Thompson not make the Canadian roster? A lot of people have been talking about that. Maybe they thought he was a fluke or whatever. Or maybe they thought it was the strength of his team. A lot could go into that, but you figured Binnington was probably going to be an automatic. And then who were the other two? Did Montembeault get one? One of the spots? It seems like a lot of people have been talking about him too. So like they think, he's like one of the next guys for Canada. Yeah. Aiden Hill, Montembeault, and Binnington. No, obviously you could say now that, Thompson definitely deserves it. Stanley, I'd let DAWS take Vegas as a reward for tonight, and Jake can lace up against his old team on Saturday. I wouldn't be mad at that. But in that scenario, Stanley, if DAWS plays against Vegas and looks great and we win, would you then not be like, maybe we need to go back to DAWS again for Saturday? Because I know I would. Natural Canopy, London, it's too late for that. Tell her I'll treat her to a nice Olive Garden dinner. Natural Canopy Ace is a Tuesday, but who gives a shit? Let's beat the 3 a.m. record. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Husky Unchained 4 or 5 hanging from the rafters. Yeah. Marty Stevens, Needs, and Dano, all Canadian boys. And Patrick Eliash being from, I guess, technically the Czech Republic, which is now Czechia. Ryan Johnson, even Blackwood guy's been a stud on the mediocre San Jose team. Yeah, now he's on the Avs looking to just get a cup. Oh, man. I think he is going to win one day. I do think he's going to get one. Anything else? I'm fading out here. Dun 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 dun. Oh man. What are the chances we win the cup within 7 years? I don't know. I guess I'd have to say 50-50. A 50-50 shot of winning one of the next 7. I mean, that's a long time, and we should be pretty damn good for most of those years. I would say 50-50. Man. Yeah, I'd love to win it this year. Ryan, at London, we're winning this year, son. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. 2025 Stanley Cup champions would be really nice. 22 years after our most recent would be something really special. Really, truly special for this group to somehow get their shit together and start gelling at the right time and just head off into the playoffs and just start crushing teams. I would love it. No one would like it more than me. I would love to see a cup. At this point, I just want to see one more before I croak as like a full adult. It's been a long time. All right, going to the Bing. If we win the cup, hopefully we could go to the Bing with the cup. Andy, so random, but did we ever learn the cause of Luke's injury to miss the beginning of the season? I remember some drama, but never heard an exact answer. They said it was some sort of training incident. That's all they said. That's all you're ever going to get. They said it was during training in the off season. So that's all we are ever going to get from it. London says, let's just be delusional and pray for a comeback. I heard FitzJesus is there face down. Emily says, facts, London. And then London said, Andy, they said it was just an injury during practice, but I don't know. No, they said it was training. Husky says, I miss Canada. Now we're a giant safe space. Would move to the U.S. in a heartbeat if I could. Where do you live now? Stanley says, from your lips to God's ears, Ace, just want one more before I kick it. It's starting to become a real concern. Definitely. Same here. I'm like, whoa. Am I going to not see another one? And I'm going to be talking about when I'm an old man, however old is. Be like, yeah, I saw my team win 3 cups when I was 9, 14, and 17. And that was it. I saw 3 childhood cups, 9, 14, and 17, and never saw another one. Crazy. Oh, I forgot. We have like an online matchmaking situation here. I forgot about this. Little do you guys know, Emily's a 400-pound man with a photo of a girl. That's her thing. Wait, so you said, why'd you say I miss Canada then, Husky? I'm confused. You said I miss Canada. The next Ring of Honor inductee. There's so many worthy. I've talked about this forever as well. I think at some point, I mean, are they really going to wait for Lou to not be working for the Islanders to put him in the ring? Like, who gives a shit? I don't know. I feel like, he was all at Jacques' thing. He was at Jacques' Ring of Honor thing on the ice. He was at the dinner the night before. And so it seems like, over time, he's more willing to come around for stuff. And so, I think just given age and his importance in the franchise history, I think Lou should be the next Ring of Honor inductee. But I don't know. It's snowing on Thursday. Oh boy, I hate the snow. Natural Canopy, I live in West Caldwell. What a great scene. What a great scene. London, one of us got to convince a group of witches to become Devils fans and let them do a bunch of spells. Emily says, LOL, Ace, wow. I mean, listen, you're probably a catfish. It's okay. Natural Canopy, Ace, you're a young man. Time to take the reins. It's inevitable. Take the reins of what? Yeah, London, it's true. She's a 427-pound man named Tom, and you're getting catfished. Just wait till you get to that. Wait till you get to that Olive Garden. I missed the old Canada before Justin. When was the last time I was in Canada? The last time I was in Canada, I think, was for the great Martin Brodeur's Hall of Fame induction. Was that 2019? 2018. Damn, it's already been, wow, almost 6.5 years since I've been to Canada. That's kind of wild. If all the Devils fought to the death, who would die first and who would win? I don't know who would die first, but you know who would win. The toughest man in the National. Curtis McDermott, easily. Eric, do we finally see Nemitz on Thursday? I hope so. Jack and Luke should be shootout last resorts. They suck at it. I talked about this earlier. It is disappointing. It seems like Jack is always going to go. So hopefully he just gets better at it. But, you know, I don't know how Timo didn't go till 7th. I mean, I'm appalled. I'm appalled by that. But good to see him get the win when he was finally called upon. I don't think it's going to be Nemitz. I could be wrong, but I talked about this at length before. But Siegenthaler's a left-handed D. And Nemitz is naturally a right. And they're not going to play Nemitz in his return to the NHL after being out for months and months. They're not going to put him on his offside and set him up for failure. So that would force someone else already in the D core to play on their off wing so that they could plug Nemitz in on the right. So I just think, you know, ideally you'd rather just have a natural left D come in for Siegenthaler as opposed to doing all the shuffling, but they might do it. All right, that's it, guys. It was another marathon. Jack, what if they put Pesce on Dougie's left side? They know each other from Carolina. Then you'll have Nemitz on the right. Yeah, so it's pushing someone out of their preferred spot. It's possible. And again, how much are they, you know, how much do they want to move stuff around to fit Nemitz? It's very well possible that they do that. All right, that's it, folks. I'm faded. I'm completely faded. What a night. Your New Jersey Devils survive. They survive a ugly outing, but a very tight game. They survive in Pittsburgh, blowing the 2-0 lead. Survive in overtime that didn't see them with the puck too much. And somehow NICO DAWS comes in, stands on his head in the shootout session to get your New Jersey Devils a 3-2 victory, a monster 2 points that we needed oh so desperately, and hopefully looking to carry the good vibes home from Pittsburgh back to the Rock for a big showdown Thursday night. A big showdown Thursday night against the Vegas Golden Knights. And hopefully they find a way to manufacture another win. I'd love to see them play better overall, but in the end, if they have a lackluster outing like they had tonight and get another 2 points, I will take that over anything else. Jack, who do you want to hear? Who do you want to hear, Jack? Delirium is setting in, Jack.
He breaks laws and maybe jaws. Kicking him in that NICO DAWS. He breaks.
All right, that's it. That's over. Thank you all for coming out. Your New Jersey Devils. Yeah. I'm just like, what is going on? It scrolls up on the side, so I'm just like scanning through it, and I'm like, all right, it's over. Yeah, I'm freaking tired. I don't know what's going on in here. I think people are getting catfished. I don't know. The internet's a wild place. But your New Jersey Devils beat the Pittsburgh Penguins by a score of 3-2 off of the strength of a Timo Meyer 7th round shootout winner, ending the game. No, Jack, I don't have Devils bed sheets. And yeah, wow. Yeah, big win. Great moment for Timo. The haters are still going to hate. The guy has won 2 games for us now in the past week. The game tonight and that Montreal game. I don't have a Devils park bench either. I have no Devils. All my Devils stuff is concentrated into my, my Devils stuff area, studio and surrounding area. It doesn't bleed into my main home. That's children's stuff. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for coming out. I'll take the 2 points anyway. We could get them. It wasn't the prettiest game. We got the 2 points. Hopefully they look better on Thursday against the Knights. Hopefully they come up with another win. 2 more games. Thursday night at home against the Knights. Saturday afternoon against the Canadians leading up to the Four Nations. We definitely need some time to heal up and hopefully get NICO and Marky back as soon as possible because, two of our best players, and Marky was stealing points for us left and right. But that's it. Thank you all for joining. I'll be back soon. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Thank you for participating. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.